Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for, or rather the moment I've been waiting for, because I have been thinking about this every second of every day since episode 4, and that is episode 5 of The Amazing Digital Circus. I don't know whether to be excited or terrified for this because, I mean, you haven't let me down so far in saying they just get better and better and better, these episodes. And after what we endured last episode, I don't know if I'm ready for what's to come. And yes, before any of you ask, I am wearing a hat this whole video because it is so humid here today. It's crazy. Thunderstorms, but also 30 degrees Celsius. And my hair is just not hairing today. And this is what we're working with. So you're just gonna have to make your peace with that. But yes, I just want to get into this episode right away. Rip off the band-aid, as it were, because I'm a little nervous, but I am excited, and I hope I can handle what's to come. Oh wait, before I go, I should also say, now that it's happened, thank you for 4,000 subscribers. Again, I feel like I have to keep saying this in most videos, which is not a bad problem to have at all, but I mean, that's a number bigger than I can compute. I mean, I can count to 4,000, but if you think about the amount of people that actually is, that's like a staggering amount of people. So thank you endlessly for enjoying or tolerating me enough to want to stick around. That is, I don't even know what to say. So yeah, thank you. That's actual madness. So I will just say thank you and move along. Okay, episode time. Episode 5, Untitled. Zooble, teapot, and it's kind of dark.
Welcome back, my candy hearts and paper flowers.
Well, that sure could have gone better. But I'm sure the next adventure will be less, wet.
Okay, I've just embraced the fact that these episodes are going to be long as hell because not only do I have so much to say on this show and it scratches that itch of wanting to dissect everything, but also it's when I have the most fun is probably with this show and just talking about it and, you know, bringing in tangents in as well, but it just is so much fun. So I'm not stopping anytime soon. Okay, first off, it's a little bit dimmer than we're used to in here, and obviously we see Zooble by themselves while everyone returns from an adventure. So I guess after the fluke last time, or rather Kane forcing their hand, I guess we're back to Zooble not really going on the adventures, or maybe they'll go on this one, but this is a glimpse into how they don't attend all adventures. It's not like they've just started going to all of them, giving us that window into their quiet time as well. Honestly, this looks so much more fun than what we just saw the gang return from. Just sitting there reading. I'm not sure if that's a book. It kind of looks like a newspaper or magazine, but I can't make out the cover. Obviously, we have our teapot there, and I'm liking Zooble's new getup. Their leg reminds me, the little like spindly one that ends in a point. It's reminding, oh, their foot. Their other foot is actually a foot, so they took my advice from last time, but actually, low-key, I do prefer the duck foot and the wheel, controversially. And this, it might sound weird, but this look is kind of cohesive. Like, it's not at all, but it's almost like each part has gone out of its way to be so different from all the other parts, shape-wise. Like the zigzag, lightning bolt-looking one, bubbles, swirls, and then the sharp point. Like everything is in great contrast, but it actually kind of works. And then it looks like the opposing hand and foot, an actual hand and foot, bringing in some balance and stability in the chaos. But okay, we've also got a fire hydrant there. I can't remember if that was there in previous episodes, or if it's there and has something to do with, you know, the theming of the wet adventure they've just returned from. But yes, it looks like Zooble has had a nice, quiet time on their own and happened to miss a rather miserable adventure by the looks of it. Okay, the little magazine thing is, what do your parts say about you, Circus? That's an interesting choice. And yeah, now that we've got a closer look at it, it's like, it looked kind of like bubbles before, but it's actually a swirly shape, which actually works even better with what I was saying. It's nice. And they feel like they're at peace in this moment, and very clearly that's about to be interrupted. Okay, business as usual. Gangle's comedy mask is broken. But again, that can be a good thing from time to time. Kinga has a starfish suction one of his eyeballs, which seems dreadfully unpleasant. Each of them was covered in seaweed, but also some have seaweed wrapped around their extremities, and they're all dripping wet. And also, this is such a reach, but I feel like you can kind of read into some of Kane's little nonsensical sayings. And that one, welcome back my candy hearts and paper flowers. I mean, on its surface, that kind of looks or sounds romantic. Very Valentine's Day, those little candy hearts with little messages on them. But is that not a facade? Because those little candy hearts, I mean, one, they taste terrible. Oh my God. It's like eating chalk, but it's still fun because they all have the different messages. But each of the messages, it feels like it should be deep, but it's actually very surface level and lacking. And also paper flowers, same thing. I mean, maybe good that you haven't plucked a living flower, but it is but a facade, a paper imitation of life. I know that's such a reach. I just thought it was interesting that this one time, because sometimes they are just nonsensical, maybe they could have meaning to them, but I didn't find the others interesting enough to ponder on. But that one, it's just interesting. You can find meaning in anything. There are cathedrals everywhere for those with the eyes to see them. Okay, that was very nice. I mean, Pomni's stacking it right now, but we see Gangle coming in, crying, carrying the tattered remains of her comedy mask. And then we see her just stick the halves back together and put it back on. Smile on the face. I think that's so beautiful because we haven't really seen that before. It's sort of been a lament of my comedy mask is broken again. But you could also consider that maybe not a cry for help, but an announcement, like almost giving herself permission to now be sad, to like prepare those around her for her being sad. And that also kind of gives some helplessness to it. Like, oh, what do I do? It's broken. I can't go back to being happy right now. Whereas it feels like she's a little bit more in control, or at least feeling stabilized a little bit, because even though she's got the tragedy mask on and was crying, she didn't seem super down, and then very calmly just puts it back on and sort of transitions between two extremes, but it's almost like she is a little more grounded in herself now after the events of last episode, and Zubal's kindness and just, I mean, everyone's kindness, really. Maybe not everyone, but yeah, I just thought that was nice. And just finally, on this little snippet is, I feel like Ragatha is back again in that, I kind of wish we got a little more closure with the stupid sauce thing, because we didn't really see, not that it didn't go anywhere, but we didn't see the end of her journey, really. Like, we sort of saw Jax have that vulnerable moment in his car, we see Pomni, we see Gangle, we see Zubal, but it feels intentional. I'm not complaining about that. It feels like it's been left sort of hanging there. We didn't see the resolution of her kind of coming back into herself and maybe what she thought, I mean, I'm sure she remembers the events, but maybe her reaction to the way she behaved and like that different side of herself. Or maybe she was kind of groggy about it and didn't really think about it. Maybe we won't get a glimpse of that, but we now see her kind of back to business as usual, ultra optimist, and not in a malicious way, but we do see that attempt at sincerity, but it not quite landing, because it does feel like an empty platitude of, oh, don't worry, I'm sure the next adventure will be, and she can't really guarantee it'll be less bad or it'll be less whatever, so she's like wet. Like, she is trying to, say something genuine and have it be true, but it doesn't feel like a real commiseration, like two people connecting. It does just feel like, oh, don't worry, shake it off, don't worry about it. Oh, it'll be fine next time. Whereas I feel like in moments like this, sometimes all someone needs is, extending a hand and helping them up and just, come on, let's go debrief or let's go unwind after that, instead of just trying to look on the bright side all the time, if that makes sense. I'm very interested to see how these dynamics pan out. Or maybe she's even trying to overcorrect after, letting her mask slip from last episode. The kind of perfect, bubbly personality that it seems like she has either carved for herself or maybe is kind of the role that settled upon her in the circus. So very interested to see where we go with that.
What?
Hey, Ragatha, can you help me count my eggs before they hatch?
Oh, yeah, of course. Wait, what?
Looks like that.
Okay, flag on the play with whatever's about to happen here, but even that was so interesting. I mean, maybe that was some emotional intelligence from Kinga, kind of reading the room that Pomni might just need a moment and is like, hey, Ragatha, come help me with something. It could also be, you know, a success on her part that when Kinga needs a favor or needs a hand, he knows he can turn to her to help out, whether she really wants to or not. I'm not doubting her sincerity in that. It's just, you know, as a people pleaser, sometimes even if you don't want to, as we just saw here, you have agreed to something before you've even grasped the reality of the situation or what you're agreeing to. She's like, yeah, of course. Wait, what? It could be that she just realized what he said was nonsense. Like, obviously the idiom of don't count your chickens before they hatch, or don't count your eggs before they hatch. So if you're looking at it from like a service level, you could just say she heard the idiom and sort of, oh, didn't question it. And she's like, wait, what are we doing? But I think you could take that as that people pleaser mentality of, yeah, of course, like with no questions asked, of course I'll come help you. Wait, what are we doing? I didn't fully take that in. It's like she's so focused on how she comes across to other people. And I mean, I can relate to that as well sometimes, especially if you're masking or you're so focused on how you're coming across to other people and trying to temper your reactions or expectations of what do they want from me in this interaction. Sometimes you get halfway through and you realize, oh God, I was paying so much attention to how I'm coming across that their words went in one ear and out the other. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of meat to dig into there in terms of that tiny interaction even. Wait, I was just about to move on, but this is also, God, I already know this is going to be a long one. Not that that's a surprise, but did you notice that switch up? Again, I want to be very clear. I'll stop clarifying myself from here on out, but just as a blanket sort of statement, whenever I'm criticizing or examining her behavior as a people pleaser, as, you know, maybe not coming across as sincere as she would like, or even if she is sincere, it not coming across sincere to other people because it feels a little forced or like that's what she thinks she's supposed to say or how she thinks she's supposed to act. If I'm commenting on that kind of stuff, I'm not saying she's a bad person. I just want that to be very clear. None of these characters are perfect, as you all know, I'm sure, but I'm also approaching it as someone who resonates a lot with Ragatha because I've been Ragatha. Maybe not entirely, I obviously don't know everything that's going on with her, but just this little sort of window into how she comes across to people. Like the instance that I'm about to comment on here, I'm in no way saying she's doing this maliciously. So I won't clarify that from now on because I feel like I'll be saying it after every sentence, but I don't think she's evilly conspiring or is being fake, but to get to the point of this is, did you notice how quickly she switched up from trying to cheer Pomni up? Like Pomni's on the ground, face down, clearly miserable, and she was kind of doing what's expected, trying to offer a platitude, and the minute someone else has asked for her attention or her help, she immediately diverted, didn't even look back as Pomni's still lying there because it's like, again, without thinking, she's like, oh, I can help with something. Yes, of course, perfect, here I come. And that wouldn't have happened if she was genuinely trying to connect with Pomni in this moment. You know, she might have said, oh, give me a minute here, I'll meet you in your room when you're done, and, you know, checked in with Pomni or something. Kind of like how we see Pomni did in the alley with Gangle last episode. That it was easily I could walk away from this moment. Even when she mentioned, she was kind of like, oh, brushing it off to Ragatha, but she stayed. And so that switch up was very interesting because this is what happens when you're a people pleaser or you put yourself at odds trying to please everyone and you end up pleasing no one because you're drawn in all these different directions and you're not really present in any of them. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm definitely making sense to me, and maybe if you've been through that as well. Or maybe you've experienced it from someone else towards you. Okay, I'm back. I had to step away for a minute, but as I was saying, yeah, it might be a small moment and maybe it wasn't designed to have maybe such significant meaning on it, but I found the meaning. I do think that switch up and just leaving Pomni there completely forgotten about because all of a sudden all your attention was focused elsewhere, trying to people please that situation. It's very, very emblematic of the intention behind it and that there wasn't any real thought maybe behind trying to comfort Pomni. It almost makes it feel more like making conversation, like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to have said, rather than actively trying to extend a hand to a friend in need. So I wonder if that's something I've just noticed or whether it's actually intentional and maybe thematically significant this episode or going forward. I'm I'm very excited to see how this is gonna unfold.
Wait, what?
Looks like that oh-so-positive Ragatha charm is starting to wear off, huh?
Oh, hold on, okay, I'll touch on this rather quickly because I swear it's been like 30 seconds. We gotta move along. But I swear it's just a single line from these characters can just unspool an entire yarn of thoughts and just send me spiraling. So, I mean, of course, in character for Jax, vaguely antagonistic, whilst also kind of throwing Ragatha under the bus a little bit. But that's the thing with these characters. I feel like depending on your opinion of them or how open-minded you are about them, you know, devil's advocate or thinking charitably, you want to extend that kind of grace towards them. Like, for example, I see people swing wildly between Jax is a soft boy who has never done anything wrong. Like, come on, let's not infantilize characters, please. I saw this with Astarion too, like, oh, he's so soft, baby girl. I'm like, did you play what? Wild. But it very much falls into, especially with these kind of characters who do bad things or aren't good people, or maybe that's painting with too broad of a brush. They push people away, or I'm doing it right now. That reframing of their behavior. Because on the other side of the spectrum, there is also people who are like, Jax is a piece of shit, he's an abuser, he doesn't care about anyone. Like very, very extreme ends of the spectrum. Whereas I tend to, especially while forming my opinion of the character, I mean, a lot of you seem to really resonate with that in my Hell of a Boss videos. A few people actually went out of their way to thank me for not dismissing Blitz or not dismissing Stolas and sort of making room for both of their feelings. And that's something I really do try to do. So I'm genuinely really glad that it came across and that you felt that. And so in that sort of middle ground, there is a lot of room for speculation on how these characters are behaving and what intention you want to ascribe to that. All being a very long-winded way of me talking about this moment, because it could just be Jax being Jax. You're like, oh, Ragatha, that sickly sweet persona she puts on, guess it's wearing off, guess she's letting it slip kind of thing. Maybe intentionally or not intentionally trying to drive a little bit of a wedge, especially since Ragatha's the one that he tends to clash with the most. And he does seem to feel a little bit more comfortable with Pomni. That might just be me feeling that. We haven't seen enough of it really at this point, but I think these two have a better chance of being friends than I might have thought early on, or than we're supposed to think necessarily. I think they have a very fun dynamic. And that could just be my preference. But if I wanted to take a very charitable or very Jax-focused sort of stance on this, rather focusing on the negative of, it wasn't that extreme, but putting Ragatha down or trying to drive a little bit of a wedge, you could think of it as him trying to connect with Pomni, or since him and Ragatha don't really get along, I feel like Pomni could get along with both of them just fine. But I don't know how the other one would react if Pomni was friends with the other one. Like, if Ragatha and Pomni are friendly, I can't see Jax being a fan of that. But if Pomni kind of gets along with Jax, I can't really see Ragatha vibing with that either. So it's interesting how, talk about cold opens. Because almost every single episode so far, something in the very beginning has come full circle. I talked about it in most of the previous episodes, so I won't dwell on it again here. But that could be them setting this dynamic, especially because Ragatha walked away from Pomni off screen, and then Jax comes into frame and walks towards Pomni, but also them going in opposite directions. This kind of, maybe that is more of a focus of this episode. I do hear it is a little bit more insight into Jax, which is what I want. But if I was to hazard a guess from this very beginning, I think we're going to see maybe them at odds this episode, maybe at some point. Maybe it won't be a huge part of the episode, but it seems like the dynamic between these three, Pomni, Jax, and Ragatha, is something. It's something. So I'm sure you can tell by my kind of scrambled thoughts right now, which I can't articulate properly. So I'm going to let it play, but I do have more to say on this dynamic. I can't find the words right now. But yeah, just finally, that kind of gives credence to the whole Ragatha portion of that discussion I just had, in that persona is wearing off. Because the problem with, approaching someone with positivity and optimism all the time and trying to kind of befriend them, if there's no real basis for that or no real connection underneath, it is gonna, you're gonna get weary of it. And you could take that as a moment of Ragatha giving up a little bit on trying to approach Pomni here, because Kinga came with something she can help with tangibly. And yeah, it's just interesting how a lot of things Jack says are snide or are hurtful, or, you know, even things that are unkind, they're not always untrue. Even if he maybe voices the worst sort of side of that, there might be truth underneath. Like when he said to Gangle, like, I liked you better when you were sad or something. He framed that in the most negative way possible, but you could take that charitably as the root behind his thought, and voicing that is, you don't feel like you, or something's off about this, or especially with like kind of what they were going through last episode, all that wild stuff. Instead of framing it as even something as biting as I liked you better before isn't as negative as I liked you better when you were sad, like actively almost wishing ill on that person or wishing them to be in a, you know, a sad state. You could take all of these in so many different ways, so many different intentions you could read into these characters' motivations and their drive for doing and saying the things that they do. But I think that's part of the fun with characters like Jax, because it's better when you do relate to them, or you do kind of, you know, understand a little bit of what they're saying, even if they didn't word it in the way that you would, but still being able to see things from their kind of point of view a little bit makes the dynamic more interesting. God, I really want to move on, but I just keep on having thoughts. There's one more thing I'm going to say. God, feel free to skip to the next part if you don't want to hear anymore just from this tiny 40 seconds of show. Oh my god, that's diabolical. But I think there's something to be said about Ragatha and Jax kind of being not opposites. There's a word for what I'm thinking. Foils to each other. That's kind of the vibe that I get, because so many of their seemingly actions, maybe motivations too, are very diametrically opposed. And I guess it can be very much up to, you know, personal taste, which resonates with you or which you find more like sympathetic, because we see Ragatha make that tiny effort, and maybe she did really want to connect with Pomni but doesn't know how, so it comes across as surface level, whereas you see Jax does not even try. Though he does kind of, as he makes that little remark, Pomni sort of starts to sit up, and there's something to be said of him kind of being a little bit of a distraction. I feel like despite his antics, he is the kind of person you would want around to not go insane, because maybe when you're getting into the depths of despair or something, he'll come at you with some biting remark or some shitty thing, and that flare of annoyance or like, ugh, at him is kind of enough to keep you grounded. So that's something to think about. But also the fact that I'm very much looking forward to seeing why each of these characters acts the way that they do, if we do find out. Because Jax very much seems to be pushing people away as his gut reaction, whereas Ragatha seems to be trying to pull people in as her gut reaction and be perfect, whereas Jax kind of seems like he is trying to be the worst version of himself. Or, I mean, I don't really think that he is the worst version of himself, but it's almost I'm going to show them the worst. These are low expectations that I've set for myself. It means like, I'm not going to be able to disappoint anyone. That's one way you could look at it if you perceive him as having deeper layers, which I do. I just don't have full confirmation on where they sit yet. So me, in my head, kind of the ideal version I want of this character would maybe have events or, I don't know, stuff in the past that has made him this way, maybe whether that be trauma or harsh expectations or, I don't know, something. And I would be very interested if it was similar to Ragatha, because she behaves kind of the way you do when you're under crushing expectations, or you're just trying to please everyone, you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to put your best foot forward, and that fails very easily because you can't keep that up forever. Whereas on the flip side of that, Jack's kind of keeping you, like, not letting you in, keeping your opinion of him low, not letting anything real show. They're both keeping it surface level in different ways. So it's interesting that they infuriate each other so much, because in a way they both could be being fake. Like, it's more obvious when someone's, you know, pretending to be nice when they don't necessarily mean it. But if you're putting on too much of a blasé attitude and pushing people away with that, that's often not 100% sincere either. They're both kind of covers or compensating for, you know, past failures or traumas, that kind of thing. So yeah, I will move along, but these are all things that I want you to know I'm keeping at the forefront of my mind. So yeah, let's see how the rest of this episode shakes out. And by the rest, I mean literally all of it, minus these 30 seconds. What is this show doing to me? And now this tiny frame has me terrified. Split second, we see Pomni catch it. Why is there an NPC in the circus? that's not Gummy Goo. I mean, that was my first thought because we see this NPC here in the circus seemingly hiding, and that's where I'm worried because if Kane had it here as part of some adventure, which I don't think they would because of something they specifically said right after the horrific terminating of Gummy Goo's existence in the circus, which is that he can't have NPCs being part of the circus because what if he gets them mixed up? What did he say? He said something like, you know, there's a chance that he might not be able to eventually differentiate between NPCs and circus goers, and then who knows what could happen. So that has me very nervous. Obviously that NPC is a lot less advanced, liking the AI Gummy Goo component there, but I don't know if that's a bad omen or whether it's just signaling that foreboding of something is to come, or whether it is a callback to that, and who knows what could happen. I don't know about this. And the look on Pomni's face after she saw it was
Looks like this one was a home
interesting.
run, eh?
Okay, I've stared at this image for like a full minute now because, I mean, obviously the bottom B is Kane-like and the other B is very Bubble-like. That top symbol, the dash, line or slash, circle, I can't for the life of me figure out if that's supposed to mean something necessarily. If it does, maybe I'm missing it. But what alarms me is if you look at it from a sideways and like picture a box around it, and it's just like a line and a circle and kind of a divide in between, it makes me think of like an on-off switch, because vertically that's what they look like. The vertical line and then the circle for one being on and one being off. So that, I don't know what to think about that. But it speaks to me of control, and I mean, he can't really turn them on and off, but I don't know if that symbolizes abstraction or something. I am very unsettled by that. If it means something else, feel free to tell me, but that's just the only thing I can imagine when seeing that.
Looks like this one was a home run, eh?
Oh, Zubul, you mismatched cash piano, I'll tear you to pieces. Constructive criticism would be greatly appreciated.
But never acknowledged.
That's it. Everybody besides Zubul, get over here.
But no. Okay, I love that. I mean, the blow up plus constructive criticism is greatly appreciated, but never acknowledged. And doesn't that just speak to the suggestion box from last episode? Although the funny thing about that though is their suggestion was taken on board last episode. But oh my god, I'm so lost in the sauce. Bloody ADHD brain. The whole point of commenting on Zubul's new getup was the leg. You know how I was talking about the pointy leg, is because, I mean, A, they look super chic in this shot, especially. But that leg reminds me of, I don't know if you guys had toys like that too, but did you ever have toys that shot out a tiny little missile-like thing, and that the different segmentations of that leg, it would like squish in, and then when it would propel out, it would be extended. Does that make sense? I'll see if I can show it because I definitely still have one in my apartment. I know where it is. So I will maybe show it on screen at some point if I can find it. But I had this car, I believe it was made to fit Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie, and at the front of his little car was an area where you could shoot out a little projectile, and you would squish it in and shoot it out, and it looks exactly like Zubul's leg, that kind of shape, so it just took me back. Okay, I found it. Isn't he beautiful? I think the car might have been from Diddy Kong Racing, which, great game, by the way. And if you crank it, no. Oh shit. Okay, he's been rescued, but if you press the steering wheel, okay, that went terribly. But this is what I was talking about. That reminded me of Zubul's leg. That I'm sure is not intentional, but it just, I had to mention it. So if anyone had a similar toy, let me know. Love that we also get a glimpse into Ragatha and Kinga quite literally counting eggs before they hatch, but also those are store-bought eggs, so I don't know if they will hatch, but Kinga maybe hold them the right way up. He might have better luck with that. And oh, Jax is so pouty.
Everyone, I'm going to pitch to you some future adventure ideas, and I'm going to ask you to give me your honest opinions on them.
I was gonna sleep.
All
Jax.
right, so I've got an
Okay.
adventure where you all tour my amazing magic chocolate factory and get killed off one by one from OSHA violations. One where a sentient cardiovascular system goes to war against the United States military, and one where you have to survive in a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland with a telepathic talking dog who's mean to you the whole time. What do you think?
I mean, minus the telepathy and the meanness, that's very Fallout. Post-apocalyptic wasteland with a dog. But yeah, as soon as I mean, I saw the butterflies and I was kind of like, ooh. And he mentioned Chocolate Factory and I'm like, ooh. We all know how that movie went, the Gene Wilder one especially, just, as he said, OSHA violation. So I already knew that was coming, but I didn't think he would say it so outright. But that was the result I expected. Honestly, I mean, the telepathic dog who's mean to you the whole time, they all deal with Jax, so I reckon they could put up with that. It's whether anything else in the post-apocalyptic environment is super dangerous, is the real concern. And what, a sentient cardiovascular system going up against the US military? I mean, I know which side I'd be on. I mean, me and that heart, we'll be teaming up. We're like this. But I can't imagine any of those scenarios are what is playing out this episode, is it? I feel like they're setting that up and then something else is gonna happen. I mean, maybe Kane doesn't like that he lost kind of control last episode. He did let them do kind of what Gangle mainly suggested, and so I guess he's presenting these options now, but none of them are really good. So it's like that illusion of choice. They're not actually allowed to choose the adventure, like come up with the idea, but by being forced to choose between a few options, all that Kane would be happy with. Yeah, it's that illusion of choice and autonomy, whereas they actually are still at the whims of, obviously, Kane and this world that they are trapped in. So yeah, interesting to be sure.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They all sound a little dark.
I can't tell a compelling story where nothing bad happens. Where's the intrigue? The stakes?
Not to mention the sex appeal.
What are you talking about?
You know, you could always try the suggestion box again. I honestly didn't hate the last one.
As I've been saying,
You didn't hate it?
It was kind of refreshing doing something grounded in reality.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Subal. That kind of goes into what I was kind of thinking and expressed last episode of all of them feeling a little bit more like a grounded version of themselves. Obviously not at all points in the episode, but it was almost like that connection to reality and their old lives, that feeling of kind of normalcy. It was when we started to see a little bit deeper into a lot of people, and also some connection that came from that. Because actually, that's something I didn't really think too much about, but the episode where everyone kind of loses their minds was the episode grounded in reality. So if you go back to that distraction element, but also just the fantastical nature of so many of the other adventures, it's like so much is going on that is the focus. Like there's a reason that those quiet character moments happen in a little bit of a break in the excitement, like Pomni and Gummigoo in the asset layer, like Pomni and Kinga when they were in the dark or when they were in hell, and it was just that quiet moment. The quiet before the storm in a lot of cases, but then also the chaos of the kitchen last episode and then out in that alley, that quiet moment where characters can connect. Whereas because last episode was so grounded in reality, nothing really externally bad was happening. Obviously it was boring and it was, fast food service work, which is not something I would wish on most people, for minimum wage anyway, or no wage in this case. But that was really when we saw the group themselves become the conflict. Like Gangle obviously was the catalyst for a lot of that, but we also got to see softer sides of everyone because that reprieve really gave them time to both go through their shit, but also show us all what's kind of going on a little bit. So to have Zubal say that kind of unlocked that thought in my brain of it was kind of nice to be grounded in reality because we got what was ostensibly a very character-focused episode. But I also love what that says about Kane, and despite being, this AI overlord that, in theory you would think is advanced, but then presenting a very rudimentary understanding of storytelling and, bringing it to that base level of something bad has to happen for it to be entertaining, which isn't necessarily the case. I think it's boiled down to that, but rather than something bad happening, conflict in general, and that doesn't have to be serious conflict. It's why a lot of character-driven stories really work. Even when nothing bad, like something awful and horrendous isn't happening to the characters, but it's often those quiet interpersonal dynamics and conflict that arise from communication and that kind of thing. Those are still valid stories, but you do see that rudimentary understanding from Kane of, kind of A plus B equals C, this is what needs to happen. So it's in these moments when you see the characters, how much deeper their thought process is than someone or something like Kane when it comes to understanding them, which obviously, but it's just interesting to see so tangibly. And I also like that Zupa was the one to speak up here, because obviously they're the ones who don't like going on the adventures, really. But for them to say that they didn't really mind last episode, or rather not episode for them, last adventure, last episode for us, that's both promising, because maybe it'll give them back some control. If Kane really wants Zupa to get involved, maybe he will have to bend a little to what everyone wants. But as they also said last episode, what did they say exactly? Kind of what's standing between Kane kind of losing it on them. Like the thing that keeps him in check is the fact that he likes them, which, you know, I guess would make him more inclined to maybe listen. But also that can probably only go so far. He can't relinquish all control of this, because what did he say in the episode before last in the therapy session? Like, this is the only thing he's programmed to do. And if they don't like it, like if they're not having fun, if they're not good adventures, then kind of what is he for, kind of thing. I'm a little wary about where this is going to go and how much rope he can give them before he's going to have to reel it back in.
In reality.
Pomni nodding.
Really didn't mind that one either.
What about the rest of you?
Oh,
I very much did not enjoy that
back
one
on.
in the
Really
slightest.
think you
And
brought
if
out
we
the
ever do
best
anything
in
even
you.
close to that
Really?
again, I'm
Six
getting
things
violent,
normally
and I'm
never
going
say.
to kill Ragatha.
What? I was kind of dialed in on Gangle saying, I don't really think it brought out the best in me. And then I just hear, I'm going to kill Ragatha. Okay, you're saying, I really didn't like it. If we do anything even close to that again, I'm getting violent and I'm going to kill Ragatha. Okay. And then we have Ragatha giving us what I wanted, talking about last episode. But, I mean, in a very emblematic way, I'm like disappointed, not at the show, but expectedly so. This is kind of what I was thinking, and I do think it's intentional, but it's almost like it dangles that, oh, maybe there's a hope of Ragatha maybe feeling like she could let loose a little bit after last episode, but obviously that's not the mindset you're in when you're trying to, or maybe not trying, maybe subconsciously being a people pleaser, is rather than that being a freeing moment, rather than that being a freeing moment when you're kind of, you know, allowed to lose control a little bit, it's a failing. It was a chink in the armor. Like, even if it was lowered inhibitions and those are things she wants to say, and the stupid source let them out, like thoughts that wanted to come out, it feels almost like a violation. Like you didn't give yourself permission to say those things. That loss of control feels like agency kind of being taken away from you. I mean, even like her framing of it very much gives credence to that, because it wasn't like she was saying, oh, it made me say a bunch of things that I didn't mean. It was things that I wouldn't normally say. Not that she wouldn't think them. So yeah, I just think that was a very interesting framing of that from her. And I wonder if we'll see more development in that idea of what drives her to have this kind of perfectionism and hyper optimism. And again, being Foyle's kind of like Jax in those opposite ways of not really wanting to let anyone in for real. Like, if she really thinks those things, the things she said last episode being the realist look that we've really got into her. And she's trying to keep that all inside and not show any of that. And Jax is the opposite. If he does have or did have more optimistic feelings, maybe those are what's being shoved down and just keeping people at arm's length in a similar way. It's just really interesting to kind of compare and contrast these two characters. But I like that after the ending of last episode, when Zubal brought Gangle back to the group, after the devastating, the mask didn't work, and now I don't think anyone wants to talk to me anymore. Oh my god, the line that keeps me up at night. But it's nice to see her embedded in the group still, and kind of brushing last episode aside as it didn't really bring out the best in me, but she's still here, and yeah, it's honestly refreshing to see a character acknowledge their faults as well. Like, it didn't bring out the best in me. I know I was struggling last episode, guys, kind of thing. It's all nice.
Well, how am I gonna please everybody if you all like different things?
Good point.
Maybe just keep your adventures open at all times and let us do whatever we want when we want.
Are you here
He's not gonna
on
like
this
that.
bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Disgusting.
Am I not supposed to be hearing you?
Zippy!
What did you even zip up? I don't have a mouth.
Okay, well,
Hold
how
on.
about this?
Okay, that's actually an interesting point. Because if he did leave the adventures open, as in kind of all worlds connected, like it would be leaving the Candy Kingdom open, like if everything they wanted to do, then all of those AI characters would be kind of running perpetually and learning things, getting more advanced, and kind of like with Gummy Goo, I mean, similar scenarios could arise. I can see why that would be a problem. For Kane, anyway. I mean, I would love that. We need Gummy Goo back. That would be ideal. But if we were to take his point from his role as the ringmaster of this circus, that is an unwise decision for him, especially since that's the point of him. But also this was crazy work because I know that he can like summon them. We've learned that, I mean, in a few episodes, but it was a shock at first. And then forcing Zubul to go on the adventure last time. But I can't remember if we have. I might have just forgotten this. Remind me in the comments and I'll probably remember. But did we know that he could affect their physical bodies? Like, obviously he generates Zubul's parts probably, but we know that he, what did they say in episode 1? That I think the one thing he doesn't have control over is their minds. And I guess that doesn't really extend to their physical beings, but I think maybe I assumed that they spawned into this circus either as a kind of character that maybe represents who they are, or maybe they were chosen for specific reasons, maybe it was randomized, but I don't think Kane necessarily designed them. I mean, it's possible that his AI, if that powers the entire kind of space that they're in, if they were generated in, then I guess you could partly consider it his work, maybe based on other factors or randomized or whatever. But that's very alarming that he can at least augment their physical bodies, if not change. Because, yeah, he added a zip there and Zubul can still talk because they didn't have a mouth. But that's very telling that one, he added that onto their face, but also the thinly veiled threat behind that of, I can silence you. I know he didn't, they're still talking, but that zip is very symbolic and I don't like what it symbolizes. Like, are they supposed to live in fear that he could zip up their mouth? Or, I don't know, that's very symbolic of, you know, taking away autonomy, getting back control again, really bringing control back into it in this episode. And I'm alarmed. And very much bringing it back to not being receptive to criticism or suggestion.
What did you even zip up? I don't have a mouth.
Okay, well, how about this?
Bubble's gone again.
We'll do a lightning round. Going through all the suggestions in the suggestion box in rapid succession.
Okay.
And if you don't like one, you can all vote to skip it.
Veto power.
Like, now?
That's right. So grab your bones and pop your pansies, cause here we go!
We just finished an adventure!
Jax wants his nap.
Oh wait, I know what this is.
Oh, I swear to God, if this is one of your suggestions.
Oh God.
Hi everyone! In today's episode of Poach Everything, I'm going to be hunting the critically endangered red ribbon rhinoceros.
Red ribbon? Oh no, that's...
Just like...
As soon as he said the words red ribbon, I knew where this was going. I mean, honestly, he's kind of giving a very outback Aussie vibe here, and it's kind of working for him. Very Steve Irwin and his ilk. But I'm very displeased that we're going after a supposedly endangered white rhino. Not just that it's Gangle, but that also is a factor too. She looks so goofy.
Just like Mom used to make.
God, it's like a bowling video when you go...
Oh my God.
Delicious meat. 1 down, 4 to go.
That was terrifying. What the fuck? This sadistic motherfucker. Look at that shit-eating grin on his face right now. I mean, that's crazy that that was his suggestion, but I kind of want to see what the other characters would have ended up as.
Calling a vote. Let's skip this one. And also make Jax a vegan for the rest of the day.
You can't do that. What do you mean you can do that?
Sorry, Jax.
I mean, poor Gangle, I just noticed that she's still lying there in hippo form. But that's the thing with characters like Jax and Ragatha. Like, I was gagged last episode when she started talking real. But then on the flip side, with characters like Jax, the minute that they let slip a little bit of realness or like a sliver of emotion in their voice, it like rattles me. So the way that he said that sounded so helpless. This is what I mean when I say like that little snide filter that he has over everything he says, that smarminess to it. It dropped away a couple of times last episode and it just dropped away there. The overt, maybe not panic, maybe surprise, but it sounded like vaguely like panic of, what do you mean you can do that? Which maybe we are learning quite a lot this episode, because does that might change how I feel about it. The whole theming of this episode of like, they have suggestions, each of them can throw out suggestions and the team can vote on them. Is that confined in this little adventure world? Like if they returned to the circus, I mean, would that change that's been made to him still stand? Because obviously we see the characters here in different forms. Clearly, in whatever adventure they're in, their physical form is quite malleable, and maybe that extends to like physiological factors as well, because obviously Zubal's not really a flamingo, and that might mean Jax is not really vegan once they leave almost this Inception-esque simulation. It's funny how Kane called Zubal the toy box character, because this is very much giving a sandbox of them being able to create kind of whatever they want. So if it's insular to this adventure, I'm a little more okay with it, but that is leaning dangerously close to changing their minds. I could see it work in the fact that maybe it's not necessarily Kane affecting his mind, because we've been told he can't do that. So maybe it's suggestive. Like maybe in this moment, Jax is actually a little bit susceptible to suggestion, because he says, you can't do that. And all we see is a little plant appear above his head, like a plumb bob. And he's like, what do you mean you can do that? So that to me either says the change really did happen, which maybe Kane can affect their mind in some way. Maybe it is a physiological change or a change in his body that, makes him a herbivore kind of thing. Like there's ways around that. But also it could be that just the mere presentation of that as having worked and having changed him without his permission, maybe that's not even true. Like he could eat meat right now if he wanted to, or animal product, or anything non-vegan, but that sheer loss of control in that moment rattled him enough into just believing it and being like, oh my god, it must have worked. Like, you can't do that. What? So I could see this going multiple ways, but I think we're gonna get more info on that as things unfold. But yeah, I don't blame him for being rattled. But also he kind of had that coming after having Gangle between his teeth like a chew toy. So maybe some plant-based vibes will mellow him out a little.
You mean you can do that?
Sorry, Jax. Democracy has spoken.
Democracy sucks.
Wait, what? Why me?
Well, I mean, he would think that sucks because he wants to make all the decisions, I think, be a bit of a dictator. But also, what I foresee happening is that voting thing that came up there, I can see that pitting some people against each other a little bit maybe, because if it's majority rules and everyone's voting, I can see some group dynamics really coming to the forefront here. I can see maybe that's going to bring back what I said, Ragatha and Jax kind of clashing. I think Zubal and Gangle are, both reasonably mellow, or at least after last episode, I can imagine Gangle's not really going to be the focus of this one. King is kind of off on his own a lot. So I think the cold open theory is kind of true again. I wonder if this is going to kind of come down to Ragatha, Jax, and Pomni. I guess we shall see. And yes, I called it. They said democracy sucks, and then...
I thought a position of power suited you.
Oh my god, are these all gonna be Jax's ideas?
Jax chose to make Pomni president?
Well, Miss President, it looks like there are some new developments in the ongoing war between Australia and New Zealand. We may need...
Of course we're catching strays again. Honestly, Australia's a bit of a hot mess. So, depending on the conflict, to my Kiwis out there, I might even be on your side. But you know what the ongoing war is between Australia and New Zealand? It's who invented the pavlova. Now, if you don't know about that conflict, go educate yourself. But long story short, Australia's famed dessert, the pavlova, we always have it at Christmas. Basically like a giant meringue with like a bit of an ooey gooey filling, and people cover it either in like whipped cream and strawberries and berries, or like marshmallows and like crushed choc mint and basically whatever people want. But the berry and fruit ones are the best ones to me. But yeah, the big debate is whether this originated from, or our version of it anyway, is New Zealand or Australian. It is very contentious because it is one of the few foods that Aussies can say, oh, look, this is ours, like Tim Tams and not much else, honestly. But we take a lot of pride in our pavlovas, and as much as a lot of us, I'm sure, hate to admit it, it is from New Zealand originally. I think the consensus is, I guess not consensus because people love to fight about it, but I think research shows that New Zealand has earlier recipes of it and earlier mentions of it in history, but I think Australia, maybe like a decade later or something, popularized it, or I guess made it famous and very well known. So it's kind of like originated in New Zealand, but then it kind of became an Australian staple. So I get why both claim it. New Zealand originally has it, but yeah, it's hard to have a rational discussion about that because, believe me, you wouldn't think it, but people feel strongly about it.
Ongoing war between Australia and New Zealand, we may need to take in some refugees.
The US won't like that.
How do you know what to do? What?
Didn't you get the brief?
I am just being here.
You're doing
This is
great,
so
Pomni.
me.
Come down. here
Ragatha,
first.
come on. Oh.
We all
I don't enjoy pausing with that on my screen. But okay, Pomni's so real. This is so how it feels sometimes. It feels like everybody else got a rule book or the brief and you just didn't. And you're just floundering like, oh, okay, I guess everybody else knows how socializing works and the like. And this is such a nightmare scenario of like showing up for an oral presentation and everyone's prepared and you're not. That kind of thing. Ooh, that's some scary stuff. That's very me. How do you know what to do? It's like, did you get the brief? And she's like, I'm just being here. And again, we get a little sprinkle of that from Ragatha, jumping in to say, you're doing great, Pomni. No, she's not. Don't say that. She's not. I think that's where the line is, because you could say something like, you can do it, Pomni, like encouraging, without saying something like, those have never worked for me. The empty platitudes, like if I'm having a panic attack or if I'm going through something and someone says to me, oh, I know they're trying to be helpful, but if you're in the midst of an anxiety attack and your mum goes, there's nothing to worry about and it'll all be okay. No, what? You don't know that. Don't lie to me, kind of thing. I know some of you will know kind of how that feels. Understanding logically that they are trying to help you, but flat platitudes like that based on nothing just insult me. Like, it's almost invalidating or diminishing those feelings of anxiety and panic. Because if you say you have nothing to worry about, then why am I panicking, huh? Then why am I anxious? I do have something to worry about. It's like sometimes people's hearts are in the right place and they're just trying to reassure you. I would actually find more comfort in something like, I understand this is really scary and, you know, I have faith that you'll do a good job, but even if you panic or even if you don't do as well as you thought, like run through that scenario. What could happen? Like, will you be okay? And you sort of think like, okay, even if this goes bad, I guess it's not the end of the world. Things like that can help ground you because they're real and they can be reassuring because it shows the other person's not just dismissing you. Oh, you'll be fine. Like, relax. Relax? Oh, I'm cured. Thank you so much. But yeah, I know it's not that deep. Or maybe it is, but that's why I can really understand these facets of Ragatha, because I've been there, but I've also, when you're on the receiving end and like you can tell, that's Pomni's expression is me. She's like, you're doing great, Pomni. It's like, I know that I'm not though. And I'm floundering over here. She's in an uncomfortable situation and she doesn't know what to do. And she's like, oh, you're doing great. It's like, well, you don't mean that though. So that's a really good example of this whole phenomenon that we've been discussing. So, cool.
Being here.
You're doing great, Pomni.
come down here for a sec.
Into the dark? I mean,
We
not a
all
baby
got
head.
briefs on our characters. I'm your assistant.
Is that a baby head?
Yeah.
lamp?
Didn't you
Move
get
past
one
that.
too? I figured we were all on the same page here, but if not, you're gonna have to tap into those golden improvs.
Okay, it's hard to read part of that, but I had a little giggle reading through it because, one, I think it's in Comic Sans font, which is so iconic and emblematic of this clown show, literally clown show, but also very topical. It's like, as assistant to the US president, how can we make this not our problem but still benefit? And how do we, come out with a partnership with both Australia and New Zealand? And does kangaroo taste good? And absolutely no funny business. Do not embarrass the president of this great nation. Frowny face. And yeah, I guess you could say kangaroo tastes good. I don't know if that's surprising to people, but kangaroo meat is not very common. It's not like you'd go to someone's house and like, oh, we're having steak for dinner, we're having kangaroo for dinner. It's not that common, but kangaroo meat is sold in most grocery stores, and I feel like a lot of us would have had it. It's not bad. And don't worry, as endangered as a lot of our native species are, kangaroos are everywhere. So they're doing just fine for the most part. Obviously bushfires don't really help with that. But I guess you'd think maybe a cross between cattle animals and rabbits. So it's a little gamey, but I don't know, it's pretty good. Like, that's another thing. You should see some really outback people, like my family friends who we would always go camping with as kids. The father of our family is very much like a survivalist, and he'd be there in his Polaroids and his little outback hat and his book on how to set up little rabbit traps and different fire starting, like very survivalist. And outside our tent one day was a really poisonous snake that was like right outside our tent. And we were like, oh fuck. And so he just pops over with like a shovel or something, just so takes its head clean off, and then roasted it and had snake meat for dinner, which I hear snake meat is actually very good. I have not had it. I'm not very inclined to, it's not at the top of my list of things to try, especially because I was like, what, you're going to eat the venom sac? You're going to die. And he's like, no, it's not in my bloodstream. Like, if you just eat it. Like, it's not poisonous, it's venomous. So I was like, you are a wild one. And by wild one, I want to say wild something else. And I can't say that on YouTube, but just know that's what I want to say. Yeah, weird tangent aside, stemming from does kangaroo taste good? People be out there eating snake, crocodile. Like, kangaroo's actually not that weird, is what I'm trying to say from that. But also, I swear, I'm like less than 5 minutes into this episode, and the runtime is not reflecting that. So instead of sorry, I'll just say you're welcome. But in all honesty, like, if you don't care or you want to get to the next part of the reaction, always feel free to skip ahead on the tangents. I'm not going to stop having tangents, but you're not forced to sit through them. My last thought on this scene, though, is Kinga saying, we all got briefs. Like, didn't you get one? And that now, after, because initially I was like, did Kane make these briefs? Who designed these briefs? Were they just spawned in based on the prompt? I think this answers my question of, why would Jax's prompt be about Pomni being president? Wouldn't he want all that power? Where is he? But what it could be is, has he created kind of a nightmare scenario for Pomni, putting her in this position of power with no preparation so that she panics? Is that what's happening? Or is he about to come in and like take over or something? I don't know. But if not that, then where's her brief? But I love that Kinga took her down into the dark to have a calm conversation.
If not, you're gonna have to tap into those golden improv skills.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, I didn't give you one because I wanted to see what you'd do.
Thanks, Jax.
I
Appreciate
fucking
it.
knew it.
I'm not Jax.
I mean, to his credit, she was looking at him saying, thanks, Jax, appreciate it. So he either misunderstood and is still lucid, or maybe he's still a bit loopy. But I do love that he took her under the desk to kind of knowing, even in whatever state he's in, that he thinks best in the dark. So it's nice that he did that, but I fucking knew it. I knew this was Jax's doing. I was like, why would he create President Pomni? I don't understand what he gains out of that. And now we see.
I'm not Jax.
Oi, mate! I'm an Australian extremist, and I've come to detonate this bomb that'll release all the world's deadliest spiders into...
Oh my god. That was both horrific and incredible. Also, I feel like he's really partial to these outback ranger zookeeper kind of outfits, because that's 2 for 2. But oh my god, the dog painting, Zooble being crushed, he's just barged in to the White House and is an Australian extremist. Oh my god. That's interesting. There's a Zooble picture on the wall there as well as the really cool dog photo. These are the same kind of books that we were seeing in Kane's office last episode, like Mind Freak, Chris Angel, the Gloinks, a lot of random letters and everything. The little NPC mannequins sitting there, and the bomb in the briefcase that detonates is going to release all of the most deadliest spiders. I can say, speaking on behalf of probably all Australians, I'm not a fan of that. Like, just because we're surrounded by spiders and some terrifying wildlife doesn't mean we like all of them.
Did I pick a bad time?
That's kind of freaky. The portraits in the background, one kind of looks like the dress like the princess from the Candy episode. That one looks like gummy candy as well. There's one of Jack's. And also, I don't know if that's what this scene is trying to say, but Jack's barging in and then getting all shocked, dropping the briefcase, and then underneath the president's desk, someone's head just appears up. Was he catching them in the act of something? I assume that's what that was trying to say. That's so sitcom. Literally.
His acting is phenomenal. It's hard to believe he's vegan.
Oh my
Why
god.
wouldn't the president have a bomb squad?
Don't worry, President Pomni. I believe you can do this.
There's centipedes in there too.
Just be sure you know what you're doing.
Okay, well, which wire do I cut?
This is what I'm talking about. Like, just as I was about to say, that's better, Ragatha. The I believe you can do this, that can be true. Like, that's not inherently the other person being able to say, well, no, you don't. Like, that could be true. So I was like, that's great. That's an encouragement without being a dismissal. But then she immediately undercuts that by showing she doesn't actually believe Pomni can do this. Like, if she'd just left it there, I believe you can do this, great. That's fantastic. And I get that Jax jumps in to mention the centipedes, like, we know Ragatha's scared of centipedes, but it's an immediate doubting of Pomni's abilities. Like, yeah, I believe you can do it. Just make sure you really know what you're doing. Like, she doesn't, you can very clearly see that she doesn't believe Pomni can actually do this. So she's undercut her own message like that. I mean, I hope that was intentional, but I guess either way, it's very thematically consistent.
Just be sure you know what you're doing.
Okay, well, which wire do I cut?
Follow your heart.
You stay out of this. Shouldn't you be arrested or something?
Hey, I'm on your side here.
You're literally not.
Come on, just pick your favorite color.
Like the red one?
I'd personally go with blue. Blue's my favorite color, it being closest to black and all.
Wouldn't black be your favorite color then?
Well, no, there's no black wire.
That is somehow genius and also still very loopy. Because I thought he was actually going to say, well, no, black's not a color, it's a shade. But actually what he's saying does make sense. Reading between the lines that blue is my favorite color out of what's there. I mean, it's not what he said, but I don't know if it's just because he came out from under the desk relatively recently, but I think he was kind of cooking with that. Definitely far and away not the most loopy we've seen him. So we're at kind of a baseline level lucidity, I think.
I'm a New Zealand extremist, and
Poor Gangle
I
getting brutalized.
know what New Zealanders threaten people with.
Nothing. I mean, at least even Jack's got the taste of his own medicine there. What was that? I thought we were done with this. To those of you who saw my Hell of a Boss shorts, episode 3, I thought we were done with this. But honestly, hats off to the team because they really nailed the animation switch, even posture-wise. Like, if you see, especially in like shoujo manga, especially school-based, when you see kind of like Yankee character, not American Yankee, but like delinquent style Yankee, or even just like the cold, aloof loner, they always, that exact posture, the little school bag briefcase over the shoulder, it's textbook. And they've nailed the different interpretation of like the character art styles, like the eyes. That was a really seamless transition and it feels very true to form. I don't know if King is supposed to be a teacher of some kind, with a little, what are they called, like a bolo tie or something. Love that Zubal's got the Yankee energy going on as well. The ripped sleeve and the briefcase over the shoulder. Gangle really channeling the shoujo energy. And y'all know that this is just an iconic scenery. The bird's eye shot of the school with the yard for, you know, the sporting competitions that's in every shoujo. And of course, they have the katakana for Amazing Digital Circus Koko, the Amazing Digital Circus High School. I don't know if I'm prepared for this. This must be Gangle's suggestion, surely. Iconic. Okay, the characters' faces on their lockers. Kane in the background. I love that they've kept some semblance of circus life, like the blocks and stuff are in the background. Of course, the teapot. And so much thought has gone into this, not only the character design, but also playing with like anime and manga tropes to represent these characters. Because Pomni's kind of kept her color scheme and, you know, the mismatched shoes, it's almost like odd one out kind of thing, but very baseline. Obviously, they're usually playing the straight man compared to everyone else's antics. Not too much to comment on there. Zubal, no books or papers out, lackadaisical lean, torn up, maybe intentionally, uniform. Maybe that's one of their forms of self-expression in this world. Yeah, looking out the window because they're often very unbothered and also just uninvolved kind of with what's going on. Gangle's doing some doodling, probably, as we know she likes to. But even in the way their bags are presented, like Zubal is not engaged, but also their bag's still hung up on the hook next to the desk. And it seems that everyone either has the exact same bag or a similar kind of bag, a similar amount of uniform appropriateness, like we see Ragatha. They've got a little badge, so maybe they're one of the prefects or something. Buttoned up, bow on, very straight-laced, pen lined up, books all lined up, hands crossed, very teacher's pet energy. Again, perfectionist, trying to be people pleaser, maybe, but just being very proper, locked in on whatever the teacher is doing. In comparison to Jax, who he also has a little badge on. So it's either a prefect and he's just a delinquent at it, or maybe it's the upperclassmen, because we see Gangle and Pomni in the sailor uniform, so maybe that's just character expression, or maybe it's that those two were the most recent to enter the circus out of everyone. But yeah, Jax clearly has a different bag, and it's also on the floor, no books out or anything. And like, you can tell so much about the characters just from this frame alone. And then we have Kingo, who's hopefully able to lock in and maybe teach some computer science or something. Like, we know he's got a big old brain when it works in his favor. Anyways, so yeah, I just find this is the thing with animation, every choice, most choices anyway, but every frame is so intentional. So delving into what character design choices could mean is really, really interesting. But yeah, obviously the most obvious thing is often uniform appropriateness. Jax's tie is kind of loose, whereas Ragatha is in the exact right uniform, no customization, buttoned up, the Mary Jane's on, just the picture perfect student. And what the hell is going on in the background? I'm assuming these are Gangle's doodles. And I mean, it is her adventure, so that would make sense.
What is this? I don't like this.
Oh, can it? At least we finally have one that's by someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing more fun than being back in school.
Just give it a chance, Jax. Jeez.
There's nothing wrong with your suggestion.
How did you know this was my suggestion?
What gave it away?
Can you believe this, Pomni? First she draws anime, now she drags us all into one.
Okay, I don't quite know what to make of this, but I know a lot of you were talking about shipping dynamics because some people were horrified that I mentioned like maybe Ragatha having a crush on Jax. Again, not necessarily. It's just because she talked about flirting. They mentioned not wanting Jax to hate her, even like it was giving a setup for kind of enemies to lovers dynamic. But some people also suggested that maybe she was jealous and had a crush on Pomni, and I just don't see that, to be honest. Like, there's almost been no instance where I felt like she's approached Pomni with, again, not that she's not genuine, but you know what I'm trying to say. I feel like there would have been more of an actual desire to get to know her beyond just being liked and wanting to be liked if she had a crush on Pomni, in my opinion. But I just realized that Jax very much has a Cheshire cat smile in this art style, which is again very anime because of like the little cat mouth vibes, like the little three. That's very in character for him. But also, as someone mentioned that I think the ship names were like, Pomni's funny, so I was going to say Funny Goo, but I think Funny Gummy or something like that is Pomni and Gummy Goo, and that Funny Bunny is Pomni and Jax. And I'm not really one to get swept away in popular ship dynamics. Like if everybody likes these two characters together, if I don't feel it, then I'm not gonna feel it. I don't feel it. Like, I might not be opposed to it, but it's not my first choice. And people get so aggressive and angry about shipping dynamics, and I just often remove myself from it because it's often not worth it when people in fandoms get so intense in such a negative way. Like, if everybody loves the idea of Pomni and Ragatha together, and I say, oh, I mean, I could see it, I'm not opposed to it, but it's just not really to my taste. Like, I don't really feel the chemistry, I don't really see it. There's some people or some fandoms who would be like, one, you're homophobic, and I'd be like, well, no, definitely not. Or two, you just don't understand the character dynamics well enough. Like, if you did, you would see it. And like, I don't personally feel it. I feel like a lot of people will know what I mean. So I wasn't going to bring up like shipping dynamics, but because we are in a very shoujo-esque scenario right now, I can't not. So if y'all want to get mad at me, that's fine. I would prefer if you didn't. Let's all have a nice normal discussion about this, shall we? And appreciate that people can have different opinions. But as I said to one commenter who mentioned Funny Bunny, I'm much more inclined to like a Jax Pomni dynamic. If I had to choose, like, I just like these characters in general. But I kind of like that, I mean, Jax has kind of tried to antagonize her as he does with everyone. But from the beginning, I feel like he's done all of these like pranks and antics towards her. And he's, again, with the president thing, he's always like, I want to see what you would do. I love that kind of dynamic, a dynamic that makes you think more deeply about one or both characters, because I feel like it's the interactions with Pomni where you get some insight into what he's thinking, because he kind of wants to see how she's going to react to things. And that can also lead to him maybe being surprised if she acts in a way that he didn't expect. I mean, I think anyone could work well with Pomni because she's the kind of character that I think sees past people's facades and really tries to, almost the inverse of Ragatha, actually tries to really get to know people for that point of connection, as we've seen her develop anyway. And so I could see a connection here as well. And that's a fun dynamic to me, where she kind of sees past all the bullshit, doesn't necessarily tolerate it or, let things slide that are a little uncalled for, but also doesn't lock people into judgments from like them at their worst or their worst actions and then dismissing them. I don't know, I feel like she still treats him as a person, even though he's kind of been a little bit of a nightmare to her most of the time, and like, that's what I appreciate. And this is so shoujo, like the pulling up the chair next to like the cute girl's desk. And as I kind of mentioned earlier in the episode about maybe trying to turn Pomni, put a bit of a wedge between her and Ragatha, now we kind of see with Gangle, it could be taken purely negatively as he's trying to drive a wedge, he's making fun of other people and trying to turn Pomni against them. Or if you're looking at it charitably or from a positive lens, you could see this as him trying to connect in some way, even a surface level way, even veiled in like mischief and with that pretense of, it's based in making fun of Gangle. It's like trying to find a common ground, or like, rather than bemoan his antics, kind of take fun in them, if that makes sense. Characters that surprise and challenge each other. That's the kind of dynamic I get from shots like this. And I wouldn't be mad about it. I actually want to see them interact a lot more in similar ways from last episode, where like it almost seemed like he was inclined to, when letting down his wall a little bit. Could have been coincidental, but he walked to Pomni when that happened and was like, how's your night going? And this could be completely conjecture on my part, or maybe it's something to come in the future. But what I really like about character dynamics like this is maybe all these characters who have been around each other for so long, minus Pomni, or for however long, and they're kind of set in their ways or in their dynamics with each other. And it's really hard to change that once you have an established dynamic with someone, especially in a group setting. It's kind of like, I guess, in the same way as in the circus, your roles are defined. And to drastically change it often either doesn't work, or where's your place in the group if you're different than, like, do you know what I mean? And so with Pomni, who is this new character, it's almost like Jax, and maybe other characters too, have a new chance to, expose new sides of themselves, because dynamics are yet to be formed, and I think that's when a lot of interesting character interactions can happen. So yeah, that's just a little, or rather big topic that I've kind of been thinking about as I watch the group dynamics, and it almost seems like Jax wants a partner in crime. Like, Kinga seems to be isolated, obviously, because he lost Queenie, but also because of the way he is now, and he's kind of just off in his fort. Whereas a lot of the other characters, I think, are seeking connection, but I feel like Jax is the other character who is kind of alone. Like, he keeps people at arm's length, he's the trickster, he's always like coming in and out with snide remarks or with a key to people's rooms, and there's not really anyone in the circus who is on his level of, not immaturity, but he has no one to laugh with. Does that make sense? I feel like people are either enraged or frustrated or very ambivalent to his antics, but there's not really anyone that he's joking with. It's a very self-serving way of interacting with people. Not selfishly, but in that it only is fun in a very like insular way for him. And that makes me wonder if he's trying to find that in Pomni, maybe someone to laugh with. I don't know, unite in mischief. I know he seems like his antics are all to push away, but again, going back to those established dynamics, it doesn't feel like he has a confidant in the group that he could open up to, even if he wanted to, which he probably doesn't/wouldn't, but would anyone really be accepting at this point if he did? Like, if out of the blue he went to Ragatha and actually needed to talk or something. I think that bad blood has been built up so much that, one, not really her fault, but she would assume he's like pranking her or not being genuine. But two, it's like the bridge is kind of burned at this point. I would like to see them get along better or kind of come to an understanding. But I think there's just such a fascinating look into group dynamics in this show and how you become trapped, not just in these character archetypes, but also in, I've been this way for so long, I've kind of gone too far. Like, in the words of Theon Greyjoy, I've gone too far to pretend to be anything else. So yeah, this could mean something, this could mean nothing. These are just thoughts that I have that I wanted to externalize, because I know a lot of people have been very curious on my character rankings and who I like with who, and I mean, that's forever changing, but also I think sometimes our relationships with characters are very personal and people can get very defensive of them, but whatever I say is just my opinion and you don't have to agree, but let's at least be civil about it, shall we?
Can you believe this, Pomni? First she draws anime, now she drags us all into one. She must be one of them, losers.
You threw me out of a moving truck.
All right, class, today.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This cheeky kind of like, oh, let's be partners in crime, like Gango, what a loser, what a weeb kind of thing, trying to, in a not so nice way towards Gangle, find a common ground with Pomni. And again, she doesn't let shit slide. This is not an established dynamic of theirs, like being chummy, buddy. So in the face of him rocking up and just shit-talking Gangle and being like, what a loser, she's looking at him and she's just like, you remember when you threw me out of a moving truck? Like, she stands up for herself and she's not being accusatory. She's just reminding him, like, that's the dynamic you established with us, pushing me out of a moving truck. We need a little work here. There's some work to be done before they're going to be chummy, you know? And not that she would, but I like that she didn't engage in the, you know, making fun of Gangle. And in fact, kind of turns it on him. Like, who are we talking about here?
Moving truck.
All right, class, today we're gonna learn the popular foreign language known as
English.
English.
Oh, yeah, he gagged himself.
This is boring. I vote we skip it.
Shut up, we're not skipping it.
Slice of life animes are the worst ones. It's embarrassing. I mean, I guess it's not as embarrassing as that time Gangle took an anime figure and...
That's fine. No, let's skip this one.
The figurines in the jar, confirmed. I just know it. I know it based on this reaction. I wonder how Jax found out. I mean, probably by the keys that he has to get into everyone's rooms, I'm assuming. But also, controversial, actually, should I say this? Y'all, again, my opinions, if I don't like something you like, that affects you in no way, in no material way, okay? You'll be okay if I don't like something that you like. And for the most part, I think Slice of Life is quite boring. For the most part, because I think it can be very overdone, very episodic, and very just milked to just keep it going. And nothing really happens. And the problem with a lot of Slice of Life is if nothing's happening in the plot, then it needs to be character driven, right? It needs to be one of the two, or both, ideally, but one of the two. And a lot of slice of life anime is not character driven, it's like plot driven, but there's no plot. So what are we doing here? But it can also be done very right. Like, to those of you who have read or seen the series Horimiya, like, that's slice of life. And to be fair, I was a manga reader first and it got very boring because I was like 100 chapters in or something and I'm like, okay, can we wrap it up? Like, it's actually going too far and the story suffers because of it. It falls into the milking it trap where it just wants to keep it going and it's past the expiry date. Things should have been wrapped up a long time ago, which makes the storytelling weak and drawn out, and they'll introduce little plot points just to extend the length of it rather than adding like value to it. It happens all the time. But the beginning of it was very strong and I really loved it. Once upon a time, anyway. So it can be done right for me. Y'all might love all slice of life and think that's done right for you, but I think it's unfortunately very easy to mess up, or a lot of it just doesn't appeal to me and I feel like I'm wasting my time watching it. Reading it's one thing because I can kind of just like power through, but I'm like, why am I sitting here watching this? It's the same thing. You've got to have interesting character dynamics, which is why things like Spy Family work, because they keep you tuned in even when it's episodic, because you don't care if there's too much of an overarching thing, because you just want to see these characters interact, and that's the fun part. So yeah, controversially, I think I side with the essence of what Jax is saying, but with the caveat that, you know, it's not one size fits all. Oh, I thought it was going to be Super Mario Galaxy or something. Ooh, I got jump scared coming back to this art style.
Are we just chilling?
I'm so easy. I'm sorry. Why is this episode doing its absolute best and succeeding, trying to make me like these two together? Because I already kind of did. And I'm just getting material after material to work with here. Like, from this shot alone, seeing everyone kind of congregated in some way or another. And then Jackson Pomney isolated over here. And we didn't see this, so you can imagine who kind of joined who first. Pomney could have been sitting like that when Jax came and like plopped and lay down next to her. Or maybe Jax just went off on his own to lie down and Pomney came and sat with him. And this is just, it's so interesting to me because it's through characters that we get insight into other characters. And because we don't see Jax interact with many of the characters other than in a passing capacity, that's why we've had less of a view of him. And so I love these moments. And just the little lie down next to him and the little side eye, like, how am I not supposed to be giggling and kicking my feet? I'm only human. And Pomney just has a very genuine, not naivety and not childlikeness. Like, she's quite emotionally mature, but she almost has this freeness to her. And I guess you could theorize that being she's a new recruit kind of thing, and she's not locked into who she is yet. There's no dynamic established. She's kind of just being, as she said earlier, I'm just being here. And I think that's kind of what makes Jax curious about, you know, I wanted to see how you'd react. Because she's fresh meat, but also she's interesting. Again, very mature. She's not Ragatha nice, but she is kind. And as I said last episode, being kind is not always being nice. And being nice is not always being kind. And it's kind of really touching, actually, that even if it's not an active effort on her part, she's not ostracizing him. And I mean, maybe he would want that, because if he was ostracized because of his actions, that would maybe give him more ammunition to be like, see, I show people the worst of myself and, you know, I've pushed people away. Like, it allows him to keep to himself and, you know, not feel. And especially after kind of how he's behaved, I wouldn't blame her. If Pomney's kind of like, just, Jax, leave me alone, let me be, I'm going to go to the picnic and join everyone else. But it's like, she's very open to second chances and not holding people's worst actions against them and just being and not overthinking all her interactions and how things are coming across. Like, if in this moment she just wants to lie down and she's happy to talk to Jax, she's going to do that. Even if he did push her out of a moving truck. Like, she doesn't let other characters, not their best actions, define them. And, well, again, she brought it up earlier, the moving truck. So it's not like she's just letting it slide, but she's not going to dwell on it either and keep people at an arm's length And also, just like internally for me, it feels very good place in the sense of like it's not necessarily who you are now, but it's who you could become tomorrow. Like not writing people off so easily. I don't know. I know that's a lot for for just this frame, but tell me that's not such a stereotypically romantic vibe. Like the fireflies, the little flowers around them, angled towards each other, stargazing. Like, I don't know whose suggestion this was. Maybe that was part of the prompt, but I'm into it.
Are we just chilling for this one? Can I finally relax?
I guess so, but I prefer a little bite to my adventures.
Then why don't you help yourself to a sandwich?
Here.
Thanks.
Love their dynamic.
Do you think Gangle is actually capable of being happy?
What?
I don't know, like her comedy mask still breaks every day. Does she think hanging out with Zubul is gonna magically fix that?
Maybe she just doesn't want to hang out with someone who's mean to her all the time.
She likes when I'm mean to her, though.
Oh my god, I fear that I could do so much with this because this is exactly what I'm talking about. Again, you guys might not agree, or those of you who've watched the show multiple times and seen the rest of the episodes might have more information or have your own idea of the character interactions or their motivations. It's all fine, but I am gonna share my opinion, so if it sounds like I'm talking in absolutes, just know that I'm not. Some of you might think I'm right on the money and some might think I'm completely off base, but what I think about this is that this is what I was kind of hoping for. Because Pomni lying next to him, I feel like this is just perfectly encapsulating that when people don't pigeonhole you or don't hold you to your worst actions or don't have set expectations of you, that's when you can be real and let walls down, because we see that juxtaposition here with Ragatha coming in and saying, well, maybe she just doesn't want to be with someone who's mean to her all the time. And I get it. I really do. I'm not dismissing Jax's behavior either, because like I'm not a fan of the bully trope necessarily, as in I don't necessarily find Jax and Ragatha's dynamic that cute. I wouldn't mind if she had a crush on him because we're kind of socially conditioned to like boys that are mean to us, young girls, I mean. The whole, oh, he pulls your pigtails on the playground, it means he likes you kind of thing. Oh god, that took so long to unpack. Not to mention that growing up, so much media was always between men or boys who would treat women and girls so poorly, so terribly, like really bad. But it's like romantic. Like, y'all know what I mean if you've ever gone back and reread a shoujo manga that you read as a teenager and you were like, oh my god, this is romance. This is the most romantic thing that could happen. And then rereading it and being like, oh, he actually assaulted her a little bit just there. Didn't pick up on that. That's happened so many times to me. When I've gone back to reread something, I'm like, no. This is not cute anymore. And I think that's the case, especially when it's like a very surface level thing. I'm not talking about complex characters and morally grey. I'm not talking about them. I'm just like really bad shit that then shows like there's barely no redeeming qualities there whatsoever or no justification. They are just a horrible person. But I do give this kind of thing some grace because we get so many deeper layers into the characters. Like, yes, Jax picks on Ragatha. Ragatha's not perfect either, and we don't also know the history between them, because I wonder what their interactions were like when either one of them arrived at the circus and interacted with whoever was there beforehand. I don't know if this was all along or whether this dynamic sort of built up over time, but also in the context of this kind of world where the characters are getting put in deep fryers. Yeah, that was Jax. But also like Kane's antics towards them that puts them in the trauma of like the horror episode, poor Pomni. Everything is so fantastical and like unreal, very surreal that, you know, all the characters ending up with knives stabbed in them in the truck in episode 2. It's easier for those things to be more lighthearted and less actively malicious, like actually trying to hurt people, because if it doesn't actually hurt them, then it's, I don't know, I could keep going on about this, but that is to say that I'm not diminishing Jax's picking on Ragatha or like bullying her at times, but I can also see on the flip side that like smug little veneer he has over the top of everything and the way he doesn't really care about anything. It's not like it's his life mission to make everyone's lives worse. It's almost just like he acts in service of his own entertainment rather than it being out of a malicious desire to like be a dick kind of thing. And maybe he, again, Theon Greyjoy has just gone too far at this point to pretend to be anything else. And so it's kind of like a new chance. Pomni engaging him so sincerely, like no hidden animosity of like, you fucked me over, like pushing me off that truck. Screw you, man. It's a let's just enjoy this moment kind of thing. And wow, do we really just get to relax in this one? And that kind of thing really allows him to engage in a real way. And I feel like it's always with Pomni that that's happening. Like, I can't imagine him having asked that question to anyone else in the group in a sincere way. And that consternation on his face as he's asking, and that's the thing, that's crazy. He's not even saying, I don't think Gangle's capable of actually being happy. He's asking her. He actually wants to know what she thinks about this. And maybe he's hoping for a certain answer because that also gives insight into his character. Even the way the line's delivered, of like the slight hesitation of, do you think Gangle's capable of actually being happy? And you could take this in so many ways. There's so many ways that I could take this as well. Again, uncharitably. Actually, I don't even know if I can be uncharitable in this, because even the uncharitable explanations kind of lend to a deeper understanding and intention from him. Because even if he's being negative, in the sense that, do you even think that's possible? Because she's always so flip-flop, she's always so unhappy. Like, could she really be happy? That just makes me think that he's either wondering, can we break these cycles kind of thing? Because if this has always been the case, going back and forth between the comedy and tragedy mask, that's another form of being trapped, as we kind of got into last episode. But also that comedy and tragedy, neither of those are happy. And the happy mask was a disaster. So, I feel like I'm not going to be very succinct on this because my thoughts are going in all different directions. But you could take it that he's wondering if these cycles can be broken, whether they're not going to be confined to these roles that they've either been placed in or that they've made for themselves. Like, can Gangle at this point start something new and change? Is that possible? But also Gangle could be a surrogate for himself in this scenario of, it's like if the character who's always, you know, their mask breaks and they're in the tragedy mask, they're always crying. If that character can truly be happy, and again, happiness doesn't have to look like over the top, all day, every day joy. It can be quiet happiness like Gangle last episode, wearing the tragedy mask and crying, but feeling content, feeling happy at that moment. But maybe you could be wondering that if that's possible for a character like Gangle who's so visually defined by their moods and in particular tragedy being sad, then maybe it's possible for him to be happy or to change, going to the last scenario. But again, around Pomni, he just always lets these little things slip, and then I think he needs to shove it back down because instantly it's like opened up, and not questioning him, but I think she was just surprised by this show of a genuine conversation. Like, what? Because I think, I do maintain, some people disagreed, I do maintain that last episode when Jax was normally, in just the most normal tone you could imagine, hey, how's your night going? Something like that. When she starts to answer and then realizes that he's asked her like an actual question, she seems very wary and like taken aback. And some people said, oh no, she was just concerned because he looked down or something. So she was like, I don't know, it's a fine interpretation, of course. But I think that scenario paired with this one is exactly what I was kind of thinking of, where the first time it happened, she was kind of taken aback. Like, is this a genuine conversation? Let me answer, like, yeah, and it's going well. Like, what's the catch here? Kind of thing. And now it's happened again. And she seems more surprised. And I don't think it's out of questioning what he said or a, what? Like, what are you talking about? That's not a good thing to say. It's like a confused what? Even the quizzical brow that she's got. And it's because both times he was inquiring about other people and their feelings or how their night went. Like, he's asking whether Gangle could ever be happy, how Pomni's night was. It's always when it's about other people, because like he never cares about other people, outwardly anyway, which is why it's such a shock. And of course, at her surprise to this, he immediately clenches. He immediately just gets so much smaller, very defensive as well. I don't know if what he says there is actually what he means. Like, he's like, well, her comedy must still brace every day, in that very defensive tone, as if he needs to justify what he was wondering. Like, oh, I wasn't actually asking because I want her to be happy, or I wasn't actually asking because I wonder if that's possible for me one day. Not that any of those things are necessarily true or what he meant, but he needs to shut down any possibility that that could be read into in a positive way. And then we get to the most damning line of them all. Again, the smarmy voice drops as he lets another genuine-ish question come through. Like, oh, do you think hanging out with Zubul all of a sudden is magically gonna fix that? And this is where we come to community and seeing how our relationships with other people can change us. Because it's like he sees Gangle actually being maybe genuinely happy. Because when he said last episode, like, I liked you better when you were sad, when she was manically happy, and now seeing this quiet happiness that she's got, he's almost, you could consider it envious of that, or just puzzled, or I don't know. I think the important thing here is that it's an insight into how he's thinking and observing about the rest of the characters. And the fact that he is observing and making the deduction that Gangle is happy right now, anyway. And it's almost an insight into him pushing people away again, because do you think hanging out with this person is magically going to fix that and you're going to be happy? It's like that gives a lot of insight into how he views community, or maybe he's been burned before and learned the hard way that, you know, someone else isn't going to magically fix your problems. But I think he's either bitter or maybe jaded about the fact that they can help, though. Like, it makes part of me think that something went bad in a friendship or relationship with him in the past, and he's kind of using this and that as a reason to keep people at a distance. Because one, maybe he doesn't want to change, he doesn't want to let people back in, but that could also, at the same time, again, it's not logical. Human emotion isn't logical. It might also kind of suck or make you feel bitter about seeing someone else find community and, you know, it improve their life, if that's what you secretly want. Or even if you don't secretly want it, but you see other people get it and you kind of wish you wanted it. Like, there's so many ways you could take this. But it's almost like he's trying to justify why he should keep people at arm's length, because it's not like it's going to magically fix anything, but you can always try. And I like to see that inadvertently that's kind of what he's doing right now with Pomni. And I'm getting exactly what I thought, with Ragatha kind of cutting in and I think creating this triangle of character dynamics, where it's almost like I feel that Jax has more of a genuine desire to get to know Pomni, or at least know what she's thinking. Maybe for self-serving reasons, but that aside, maybe it's just because it is these rare instances, whereas Ragatha's always nice. So it's obviously more marked when a character like Jax does something out of character. But it's almost like Ragatha, and I can see her side too, because it would kind of suck if, you know, the character who's always kind of being a dick to you is being seemingly civil and kind of engaging with this other character. But it's almost like she hates Jax, but obviously she doesn't want him to hate her. But I think she might also want other people to hate Jax, or at least it's hard for her to see her efforts, what she's trying to do. She's trying to, you know, befriend Pomni, seeing those efforts not really land sincerely, but then seeing a character like Jax who she has such a negative relationship with, seeing kind of a natural kind of friendship dynamic. We need more before I can really speak to that, but seeing that kind of dynamic form between Jax and Pomni more naturally, like, that's got to be really frustrating. Because it's like, I'm trying so hard. How is this happening? Yeah, I don't know. I will leave it there. I'm still thinking, but I am keeping in mind that although a lot of the filming time is probably me staring blankly into space and pondering, so even if I say I filmed 3 hours, only 2 hours might, you know, end up in the final video. But I have been filming, I think, for like 2.5 hours, and I'm like 8 minutes into the episode, because I've just been sitting here thinking and also talking a shit ton, but just going over so many thoughts. But I could just talk about these kind of dynamics for a longer time, I should say. So I'm gonna pause there, or rather pause my discussion and unpause this.
Fix that?
Maybe she just doesn't want to hang out with someone who's mean to her all the time.
She likes when I'm mean to her, though.
I didn't think you cared about what other people like.
I just...
What did I just say? That's what I thought might be happening. Pomni had this look on her face and she seemed confused. And I was like, yeah, it's the shock, but also the realization of you think about other people and how they feel. Because obviously he doesn't outwardly show that. Like Pomni's coming in hard with the, I don't think you cared about what other people like. And the biggest thing to me, I haven't seen what comes next because I needed to pause right here. But the look on his face and the, like that hesitation in his voice, but like I am absolutely shocked and flabbergasted and on the floor screaming and crying right now, as you can see, because he didn't deny it. He didn't say no, he didn't shut down. Maybe he will, but in that moment, he didn't go with his gut reaction of putting up the wall, being defensive. I imagined when she's like, I didn't think you cared about what other people like. I thought he was going to say, oh, well, I don't care about what other people like. I'm waiting to see her crash and burn again, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Bringing up that little Joker persona, the chaos gremlin. But I don't know if it's the stargazing that's unlocked some vulnerability, as it tends to do, but the furrowed brow and the hesitation, the not shutting down, the implication that he might care in any capacity. That's it. I am so. And I can't wait to see what he has to say to that.
No, yeah, you're right. I don't.
Let me go jump out the window. God, look, as I said, I could kind of feel that coming. But the fact that it wasn't the first thing that he went to, because normally it is. It's like he's got that on lock, he doesn't break character, and he is very witty. He is very quick with his wit, and that's a very good defense mechanism. But the fact that he almost goes to explain himself and hums and haws about it, the expression on his face, oh my god. I mean, I guess the benefit of having such big eyes, like they take up so much of his face, is them and the brows are so expressive. And I wonder if this would have been different if Ragatha hadn't also been standing there, because he almost goes to answer Pomni's question. Then he lets it go and does what we would expect and deflects, which even in that, it's missing that smarmy lilt to his voice. It's a much more defeated, yeah, you're right, I don't. Saying it in the kind of way that you say when you hope that someone calls you out on it, when you hope someone catches the fact that you're not being honest with them or with yourself. And just his posture and his like physical movement in this scene is so interesting. Like the literal folding in on himself as he gets defensive, then opening up again and then turning away, the expression on his face. I'm eating this shit up. Oh my god. And again, could be reaching, but don't think I didn't notice that the lilt comes back when he's speaking to Ragatha. Like he's kind of waiting for Pomni to speak and Ragatha jumps in. And immediately his voice changes to, she likes when I'm being mean to her though. And he's like looking up at Ragatha as he's doing it. And when Pomni cuts in with the, I didn't think you cared. The minute he like cuts back to her, he's like, and he's like back to reality. Sorry, I'm not gonna go Eminem on you. But I love when these three characters are interacting together because you see so many different facets of them come out.
You're right, I don't.
Do you have any actual friends?
Not anymore.
Okay, and that's an idea that I floated, and I wasn't sure if we were going to learn anything about it at all, but I was wondering if he wasn't always so isolated and ostracized, and if he ever did have any partners in crime, or, I mean, if at the time he had a bit of a different personality, I don't know, but if he had his people, or at least a person, because we don't know necessarily who everyone's lost to abstraction, or if that's what's happening here. I'm assuming it is since Ragatha knows about it. But right here again, we get a stunning indictment of what being a good person's too strong, what being nice and kind really is, because to a reaction like that, like the no, you're right, I don't, in that voice, you know he's bullshitting. Of course he is. You can tell. Even Ragatha had a look on her face like, oh, this was a weird moment. Okay, editing me, jumping in quickly. In a moment, the audio is about to go a bit crazy because I actually filmed for so long without stopping, and the audio file was so many hours long that it like became somewhat corrupted. I salvaged most of it, but there's one section where it was just not usable. So I'm just going to use the camera audio. The dodgy section's only like 20 or 30 minutes, and then the audio will return to normal after that. But instead of letting it be, I mean, obviously Pomni comes in with a genuine question. I love the micro expressions in the show, because she kind of reevaluates, and then very, very similar to what she said to Gangle, like, do you have anyone to talk to? She knew what was needed in that moment, or like the information she needed to like think about this situation of, do you have any real friends? She really just knows how to get to the heart of the matter, because it's like a real genuine desire she has for connection and to meet people where they are, kind of thing. And then you see someone like Ragatha, because this is where you really see the nice persona fail, because she's not raising her voice, she's not like outwardly being angry or rude or anything, but that was very unkind. That was not a kind thing to do, not a kind thing to say. And even if it was someone like Jax who hasn't been good to her from everything that we've seen, like a kind person, one, wouldn't broadcast their business like that. But also that was very callous. This is what I mean. She thinks she's being nice, but saying things like that, like just because, this is the thing, I think she stoops to his level. And so just because they have a very antagonistic dynamic between the two of them, Ragatha does in this moment seem like someone who sees people as their worst actions. And again, I can't blame her entirely, because if she's been picked on for such a long time, like maybe it is that for her. But in this moment, she's sticking her nose in it, and she's also being cruel. Like maybe not intentionally, but she's saying something and she doesn't care if it hurts him because he hasn't been nice to her. So it's like she doesn't try to be kind because that's who she is as a person. It's very case by case based. I reckon if Pomni came out and was like very actively showed she didn't like her, like maybe Ragatha wouldn't be so nice to Pomni either. It's almost like a transactional niceness, whereas humans are a little more complicated than that. So even if it's someone you don't get along with, like if they have this kind of vulnerable moment, even if you have nothing nice to say, maybe just don't say that. Like I don't think she's being malicious, but the way she said, not anymore, wasn't sad. It was almost accusatory, like it was his fault. Like either he drove them away or something happened, like, does he have any real friends? Not anymore. Like no sensitivity behind that whatsoever. But also I don't want people to think that I am excusing all of Jax's behaviour and condemning Ragatha, because I know a lot of people, I'm not going to talk about Husband again, because people just really can't handle hearing an opinion about that show that they don't agree with. It's staggering, I have realised, but I do notice a pattern, and it's often very rooted in misogyny, internalised or otherwise, where the actions of terrible, terrible men characters can be excused and sometimes romanticized, and like, we all love a bit of copium. I'm not judging, it's fine. But then the minute that an otherwise, usually nice or upbeat or does the right thing kind of character, the minute that they slip or they make a mistake or something, they're condemned heavily for it. And I hate that. Not just because of the double standard, but oftentimes, women are treated so harshly. It's like in the conversation of like romanticizing bad people and stuff, it's like that saying of the worst thing a man can be is like a serial killer, and the worst thing a woman can be is annoying. I'm sure a lot of you understand what the way I'm trying to frame that. In this moment, I'm not condemning Ragatha, and I'm not cleansing Jax of his sins or anything. I just like talking about these little moments that show what the characters are hiding. It just so happens that in Jax's case, it's a moment of genuine desire for connection, or I don't know if you can even put a name to that. And in Ragatha's, because she's typically presenting herself as nice, when it slips, and she kind of came across as a little bit mean girl there. It's not that I now think she's a bad character and Jax is a good character. It's so much more nuanced than that, but I tend to over-explain these things because people will hear you say one thing. It's like the pancake and waffles thing. Like, oh, I really like pancakes, so you hate waffles? It's like, well, actually, I didn't say that. So don't hear what I didn't say. And I just hate feeling misunderstood, or like something I've expressed has been taken the wrong way, or maybe I didn't express it correctly, but that misunderstood feeling. So I just have a tendency to hyper analyze and over-explain to try and preemptively mitigate that. But that was cold. That was really cold. And just the most expressive look we've ever seen on Jax's face. And I think it's so striking because, his mouth's not always open, as in like visible with the teeth. But I don't know if it's ever been this small. Like his eyes have just taken up his entire face, and just pupils tiny, a very like weathered look. Like he's just lived 100 lives in this moment. That's, oh my god, that makes me so scared for the rest of this episode. But it also does lead into questions about dynamics, because sometimes you see a relationship one way without having seen its inception. Like, not saying this happened, but in a hypothetical scenario, what if they were kind of, you know, on good terms and Ragatha said something insensitive and Jax lashed out, and then Ragatha's reaction was funny to Jax, and so he keeps wanting to get a rise out of her, hence dynamic born, that kind of thing. So I'd be interested to see their origins and a deeper look into who they were before we enter the story with these established dynamics. But that made me feel sick. Y'all, I'm so fucked up right now. This show's got me so fucked up. I just went back to rewatch it because I was so focused on what Ragatha said at the time and then Jax's expression that I missed his expression to what Pomni said, to what Pomni asked, of the, do you have any real friends? And as she says that, his reaction, his expression morphs from that kind of like drawn, eyes down, like pondering look that he had to this. When she hits real friends, his eyebrows droop and his eyes droop and he kind of looks down in sadness. And then Ragatha drops the bomb. So it was a moment of introspection for him before that, and fuck.
Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about that. That wasn't meant to be. Hey, Kinger! Did you see the fireflies all the way over there?
Well, what was that about?
Okay, to be charitable, and actually maybe part of what I suspected, is the shock on her face just now after seeing his expression and floundering to apologize, maybe not because she didn't mean it, but because she wasn't talking about that. As she said, I wasn't talking about, and that makes me think maybe she meant her or them when she asked if he had any real friends, and she's like, not anymore. Maybe they were friends once, or maybe there was a chance that they could be friends and he quashed it or whatever. And maybe she was just talking abstractly about the fact that he's isolated himself, so he doesn't have real friends anymore because he chose that kind of thing. But obviously the way he took it, the way I took it, is that she's talking about something that I suspect is maybe friends of his abstracting or something. But her reaction like that is just, it just keeps affirming what I was thinking. I know she did try to apologize in that moment, but other than that lukewarm, I'm trying not to be too critical because being a people pleaser is like traumatic. I mean, it's terrible for you, but it can also hurt other people because it's almost like she just, again, gave up in that moment. She realized she didn't have the skills to navigate that moment, or maybe she didn't know what to say. And so she removed herself immediately and walked away, like leaving the damage she did there. And maybe she didn't have the words, but she could have easily said sorry genuinely. And like, I'm sorry, that was like not okay for me to say kind of thing. But just that avoidant walking away and, you know, relocating herself to a less uncomfortable situation. I understand that, but I think this is where the dissonance comes from, of how she sees herself, or like how she hopes other people see her, and how her actions have actually affected other people. And like, as much as I have given some charitability and credit to Jax and his journey, I also really want to know about Ragatha, because what made her this way? Because again, as I like to say, a recovering people pleaser, it's still in me, but there's obviously reasons for why you become that way. And I feel like in retrospect, maybe if we learn it, maybe we don't, a lot of that could explain the way she behaves in situations like this. Like the shock and horror of what she said and immediate avoidance. Like, who taught her that? Or maybe she never really learnt how to apologize properly, because maybe that wasn't a thing for her growing up. Like, I know for the longest time, I found it so difficult to admit if I was wrong. Whereas now I actually, I take pride in it. If I've gotten something wrong, and I mean, if someone's being a dick about it, not as much, but there's nothing wrong with not knowing something. And it's a bit embarrassing, but I think it's better in the long run. Like, if you are pretty steadfast in something and someone corrects you and you realize like, oh, I had that wrong, I think it takes a lot of strength, and it's really admirable to say, oh, my bad, no, you're right, you got me, I actually had that wrong. But I didn't see that growing up. I won't too much of a law drop or trauma dump, But if you don't see that modeled around you, and if people in your life are just steadfastly convinced they're right, even in the face of logic, even in the face of everything, then it's hard to exhibit that yourself and embody that when you haven't seen it modeled for you. Does that make sense? And so I just wonder, in these interactions with Ragatha, and Jax actually, because it could affect any of these characters and the way that they are, but especially with certain toxic behaviors like those from Jax and like those we've seen from Ragatha, there's a very good chance that they come from somewhere, and I want to know. I want to know more about why, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm not condemning any of these characters for their worst actions. I just want to understand.
What was that about?
It's nothing. Who cares? Doesn't she get on your nerves sometimes?
I mean, she's nice to everyone.
I don't know. I think she tries way too hard. Like, we're stuck in... Why are you always pretending everything's always fine? Like, if you tell someone they're loved and appreciated every day, it just kind of loses all meaning. It just feels like she's trying to take advantage of you, you know? I don't know.
Let me just go scream silently off screen. What do you mean? What do you mean? This is everything to me. Because not only are we seeing realness from him, but this is like a bid for connection. And it's so ironic that it's happening this way, because your previous impressions of him are maybe supposed to incline you to believe that he's about to start shit-talking Ragatha, like in that voice, you know, the lilty voice that came back for a moment. But it devolves into an actual, not trying to turn Pomni against Ragatha, but a genuine inquiry to if he feels alone in the way that he feels around her. And like the expressions are so important, because again, as he's looking away from Pomni, his expression is still very crestfallen. And then as he turns back to flop on his back, the smiley, like eyes shut, face come back, and so does the lilt of who cares? The carefree mask is back on. And you think it's going to end there, and it doesn't. Because I think that's one of the best things about Pomni. This silence that she has, it gives space and room for other people to speak and think and share. It's what I really love about her character. Even the doesn't she get on your nerves sometimes could be taken as a like, oh, I find her annoying. But his face says everything, and the uncertainty in his voice. It's the exact way you say it when everyone else around you seems to really like this person and you just get bad vibes from them, or they've been fake to you, or just you haven't had pleasant interactions with them and everyone else loves them. And it's almost this defeated feeling of everyone thinks they're so perfect. Doesn't anyone see what I see kind of thing? And that's no indictment on him or Ragatha. Sometimes people just don't get along, and sometimes it's no one's fault. But it can be very isolating if you feel on the outs with someone, like you just clash, but you feel like everyone else, if it came down to it, would pick them over you. And he looks sad about it. And the way he talks in this brief opportunity for him to share, it makes me think maybe they were something akin to friends at one point, and maybe he just ended up further developing from kind of how Gangle was feeling last episode. Like Pomni offered, I think maybe Ragatha would be better. And Gangle, in not a mean ways, kind of basically alludes to, I don't want to talk to Ragatha about this, because sometimes I just feel like she's not being real with me, you know? How sincere is she really when she's always nice? Like, if you're nice to everyone, then it doesn't mean anything. And I also can't imagine how frustrating it would also feel if you're going through a lot of trauma here, or this is a really distressing experience, or again, I can't speak to how it was for Jax when he first entered the circus, but we saw Pomni enter the circus and she was not having a good time at all. She was spiraling and is obviously more settled now, but the frustration of maybe going through this terrible thing, and obviously for all of them, they're trapped here. But as he said, for someone to just pretend that it's all okay all the time when it's not, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. When someone is saying to my face, like, it's fine, like, you've nothing to worry about, like, it's all good. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not all good. I'm floundering. And I can imagine that it makes you feel like they're just not seeing you at all, like you. They are seeing a person from whom they can get validation by being nice to this person, and then this person likes them. But it's not really about you, and they're not trying to connect with you. And I mean, again, I think Pomni may share some of these frustrations, but she's not one to put other people down. So going with the wool, I mean, she's nice to everyone, which again feeds into the, you can be nice, but that's not necessarily being kind. And the way Jack says, I don't know, I think she just tries way too hard. I mean, part of it could be the frustration of that, and part of it could also maybe be some envy around maybe seemingly it coming easier to her. He says she tries way too hard, which, yeah, that's just two sides of the same coin. Him actively trying to not try hard enough, and her trying too hard. And so obviously that clash is coming in again. And then the frustration, that again, the realest we hear him is in these conversations, just that false quality to his voice goes away and you just hear that raw expression. And it really speaks to his previous experience with her. If he's like, look, if you're told that you're loved and appreciated every day, like for no reason, no matter what's happened, and that everything's just okay, it loses all meaning. And so maybe at one point they did either have a friendship, or maybe he did try and find genuine connection with her, and it wasn't there because she's very wrapped up in presenting this version of herself that is not conducive to making those real bonds. And Jax is seemingly very affected by it, which actually, I keep saying, oh, that lends into my theory. I mean, I'm putting pieces together. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm putting more pieces together of rather looking for those patterns that lead into things I previously said, like the fact that it almost seems like he's trying to form connection with Pomni, or, you know, seeing how she'd react or test the waters, and the fact that, you know, Pomni doesn't put up with shit, but she is also kind. She's open to making connections with people. It feels much more real right off the bat. And that also might be why his relationship with Ragatha went the way that it did. Because if you're frustrated every day by being told all these falsehoods, I think maybe he realized at one point that the most real he could ever get from her is anger and frustration. Like, in those moments after he's teased her, when she's, like, only being mean to him, to everyone else she still has that nicety on. But I wonder if the only way that they can really interact is through that dynamic, because he wants to get some kind of real response from her. And if that's anger, then it's like he's resolved to coax that very real reaction from her, because that's better for him than having a false dynamic. I don't know, there's so much to think about. And then that line, it feels like she's just trying to take advantage of you, you know? Could mean both him and Pomni, because he's asking her about it, I think trying to maybe resonate on this topic, hoping that maybe she feels the same way. Same as Ragatha. I think Ragatha hopes Pomni doesn't like Jax, so they can share that. But also, I don't know if Jax wants her to not like Ragatha, but I think he wants to feel heard and have someone understand and maybe not buy into the facade. Or maybe he did feel taken advantage of at one point, because it can, again, be transactional, where the person who is being nice to you because they're a people pleaser, they're not being nice so that you feel good. They're being nice so they feel good, or so they can feel validation or whatever they're missing and are trying to get, even if it's just the illusion of connection. But it's always more about them. It's like the I hate you but I don't want you to hate me. They want to receive love and praise from everyone because they need it, because of some reason or another. But it doesn't always go both ways. And it's like they want the reward of all of these close relationships and people liking them without really knowing people, or without doing the work to get to know them properly. So it's really complicated to talk about. But I like to think that he maybe is including Pomni on that too, when he says, Juice feels like she's taking advantage of you, you know? And maybe either for her benefit or selfishly, because he doesn't want her to turn to Ragatha, wanting Pomni to not get caught up or kind of fall victim to, you know, the guise of a relationship, a connection where there isn't really one, or maybe like a don't let yourself believe she really cares about you because she doesn't kind of thing. which maybe isn't even necessarily just about Ragatha, maybe it's about past stuff he's been through too, but this dynamic is so interesting. But above all, no matter what any of you think, or no matter what I think about any of this, we can all speculate, maybe we'll get more info. I'm just talking about what I see and what I feel. But out of everything, it's these little like expressions that kill me. After seeing him so practiced and so set in his facade for so long as well. Because again, I'm not forgetting that he often always behaves in a certain way. But I think what feels more real about that is when people are being unapologetically mean versus pretending to be nice, it's almost easier to swallow the unapologetically mean or teasing person because you don't feel like anything's being hidden from you. You feel like they're telling you who they are and, you know, they're not ashamed of it, or maybe they are, but they're not hiding that. Whereas when someone's just being fake nice to you, it can be unsettling. Like you don't know what they're really thinking. So I think that's why even though they're both sort of wearing facades, the outright negative one can sometimes do less damage, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Also, she's dumb and she looks weird.
He's
Think we
back.
all look weird.
Excuse you. This is what peak male performance looks like. My ears and tail are kind of the pinnacle of
Not the meme, this is what peak male performance looks like. I love that. But no, of course he's back. I knew it was coming, but I'm just still shocked at how long, maybe because I talked about it for so long. But no, just that was the longest we've seen him break character and actually have some semblance of connection. And that is so facilitated by Pomni being a good listener and making space for that. And also not making any snide remarks, not commenting, sort of letting that sit. And then when he comes out with his usual routine of she's dumb and she looks weird, she very much goes with the flow of the mood shift. And she's let him be vulnerable in that moment and then plays along with the goofiness of like, you know, we all look weird. And now they're having a little laugh over it. And this is a real interaction. And I think this is what he's been wanting, what he's been waiting for. And Pomni's facilitated that with so many of the other characters. And I'm glad that we got to see it with Jax too, because this is what we've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for.
My ears and tail are kind of the pinnacle of masculinity.
You don't have a tail.
What are you talking about? Yes, I do. What the? Where's my tail? How long have I not had my tail?
I have never seen you with a tail.
When would that have even...
They look happy.
They do, don't they?
You think after this, maybe we could...
Not the horny moon.
That's a bad thing.
Explain.
What? Okay, that revelation aside, because what do you mean they're happy? That's a bad thing. I mean, I get it. If you take it charitably and not from the malicious standpoint, he is just talking about what he mentioned earlier, how adventures to be fun have to, you know, have bad things happen. So if they're all just sitting here having a happy time, that's not an interesting or fun adventure. I get that. But it sounds so sinister. Being like, oh, they're happy. Let me take care of that. Let's fix that, shall we? Which makes me worry about what's coming. But holy shit. I mean, we did see it earlier in the adventure that they can change, that Kane can change what they look like in the adventure. But, I mean, I don't know how to take this because either he's never had a tail and somehow he's been made to believe that he did. And I don't like the implication of that because I don't know if I can still believe that Kane can't affect their minds. I think I do still, I guess, believe that for now. Maybe they're open to suggestion, but he can't actively change their minds in the actual circus realm anyway, maybe. But maybe he can change their bodies. And it would be easy for it to happen that way because obviously the tail's behind him. And if it's a rabbit tail, I'm assuming it's a little like pom-pom tail, just like a little one. And if you think it's there and you know it's there, he clearly still thought it was there until this moment. So it's possible that it's been gone a while and he just hasn't noticed. But that is a lot to speculate on. I'm gonna sit on that one and think about it.
Explain to Daddy Bubble how bad thing.
Daddy
I think
Bubble.
that Don't say that. I think they're enjoying the suggestion box adventures more than the me adventures. What should I do?
You should die. You should throw a beach party.
Why do you swear now? Ugh, forget it. Let's go to an intermission.
Very true. Oh, I saw Gummy go in there. Oh my god. Sorry, hold on. I knew I would recognize this guy anywhere. I knew I fucking saw him. Now why would you do that? Why did I go frame by frame? I just saw him. I didn't think I'd have to see him. I relive it. Him disappearing again. Oh my god. I know that's also very interesting though about Kane because, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's partly that there's no intrigue to this adventure, but also the fact that this one adventure has made them all seemingly at peace and happy at once. And again, he talked about how, oh, I can't please everyone. This one kind of has, in a way. And that's distressing to him because, again, that's what he's for. And now I'm also concerned about what he's going to do to make them not happy.
Intermission time.
That little star looked like Jaro. Got like a Severance themed opening here. They're all falling and now all the eyes watching them. Close-up magic.
Doing right now?
Well, what a way to end that. I know about this guy. Obviously, a couple of you have told me to look out for him in context of Jax. And given the information we just got about not anymore and the look on his face, plus the abstraction eyes framing both the top and bottom of the screen, I think it's safe to say that a little frog friend here was Jax's friend. Was. And is now maybe in the basement. Ooh, what a cold way to end that. This was interesting. I wonder if there's any symbolism behind that there, because Jax and Pomni got hit with the bowling balls, Gangle and Ragatha got hit with cake, and then King is about to get hit by a bowling ball and catches it. But then that's interesting because a rook, as in the chess piece, comes forward as if it's a bowling ball and like knocks him off. A rook. Okay, at least it's not a queen. That would have been sad. Again, cute little dynamic shot we've got here. The posing is so freaky. I feel like Pomni's just been rocking JoJo's Bizarre poses. Okay, and the other door was Kaufmo. There was an abstraction. So yeah, that's also leading into the theory. We're seeing Kaufmo abstracted and a little froggy with a cross that makes Jack stop in his tracks. Okay, I'm back. I took that little intermission as an excuse to have an intermission here too, because I've been sitting here for hours in this 25-minute video. That's so bad. Yeah, we're not even halfway through, but let's get through it because it is getting late and I have other things I need to do. So yeah, let's get into the second half plus a little bit of this episode.
Kane, what are we doing right now?
We're intermissioning.
Why? Hello?
And now back to the show.
What?
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white since I'm a vegan.
Okay, I was like, what the hell is going on here? I wonder whose suggestion this was. I mean, it's giving either like film noir, like old detective style film, black and white, and not the consistency of Jax still being a vegan in this episode. Oh, that literally just, the vegan thing coming up made me think of the voting of how he became a vegan in this episode. And I just realized I didn't look at who voted against him or for him. Hold on. Okay, everyone voted against him except for him. I didn't pay attention fully to that. I wanted to see if anyone was not in favor other than Jax, but I'm assuming it has to be unanimous. And I was also wondering why Zuba wasn't present, whether they voted or not, but I'm assuming whoever makes the suggestion doesn't get a vote. Obviously, we know what they'd vote for. They made the suggestion. So I was like, why is there a blank section? But that makes sense.
What? I hate this. How is this even possible? I thought Kane couldn't.
I could have made it way worse for you.
I thought Kane couldn't, and then a little look of shock/realization. I wonder, obviously he's talking about not being able to alter their minds, but I wonder how true that is, or whether it's just the twisted perception that happens to them in this place. Because about the tail thing, imagine, hypothetically, day one, he doesn't have the tail, but anytime they're on an adventure, Kane gives him a tail, and then he thinks that he just has a tail. Like, I wonder if it's something Kane can affect in their little adventures because he is running these simulations. So I'm wondering if it's something like that, or whether he really can affect their minds, or whether that is just a side effect of everything happening to them, that they're susceptible to suggestion. But also I just realized that he came in, so many seats on that bar, and he literally plops her right next to Pomni. Like,
Could have made it way worse for you.
Well, I'm calling a vote to turn Zubul into a slug.
okay, so it's Zubal's suggestion. Yeah, okay, of course. I figured everyone would vote no to that.
Everyone voted against that.
What are you doing here?
Who hate it? Woo! It's raining like the Dickens out there.
Hey guys,
Love that outfit. Yep.
I'll have a cosmopolitan.
Give me a corncob blitz.
I'll throw something together.
You know your way around alcohol, huh?
Yeah, this was one of my suggestions. I worked at a bar briefly. I like making drinks.
See, again, this is what I really love about Pomni, is she has this way of making people open up and want to talk about themselves because she's taken a genuine interest. And that's how we get insight into these other characters. Like, I just love this.
Briefly, I like making drinks.
That sounds fitting for you.
I know there's an implication there, but I can't be f***ed to figure it out.
So, Pomni, you ever have any jobs? Or are you too young for that?
I'm 25 years old. And yeah, I was in.
Now, what do you mean? What do you mean? So, Pomni, tell me about yourself. Are you too young for me, maybe? I don't know if that's what he meant by it, of course. But I think, I'm definitely not imagining it. He has taken a real interest in her. Again, that could be platonic, but I don't know. I feel vibes. I don't know.
I was an accountant for a supermarket chain.
A
Accountant.
supermarket? How'd you end up here?
Well, I sometimes got bored of things, and I would seek out mild thrills, like exploring abandoned buildings, you know, and posting videos of it online.
Ah, you...
Oh my god, she was an urban explorer? Holy shit. Wait, he asked how she ended up there. And she mentioned, you know, accountant in a supermarket chain, so obviously capitalism, soul-crushing work, and she's seeking cheap thrills. And then she mentioned abandoned buildings in this conversation about how she ended up here. So from episode 1, when she was in the C&A building that looked all disheveled, the only thing that scared her was that dilapidated desk with the VR thing on it. Is that an abandoned building? And she went in there to do Urban Explorer stuff, and she put on the headset? Is that what it's hinting at? Oh, I'll see if we get more information, but,
Ah, a YouTuber.
Not really. Nobody watched them. It was just something I did for me.
Okay, stop. I mean, this is the thing. Moments that are very innocuous, just, I don't know, you can hyper read into things, obviously. I'm a big fan of that. But just the attentiveness of like looking at her and asking so many questions about herself. It's, I don't know, it's not that no one's done this before, but it feels like they've just served the cross purpose for each other, because he has asked genuine questions and then not really cut in with any like biting remarks or commentary. And then that's how we've learned a little bit more about Pomni. I think that they're almost very complementary to each other. I don't know, I really like their dynamic a lot.
Did for me.
I sometimes did that. I wouldn't record it, though. Here's your Cosmo.
Thanks.
Hiding something.
You'd know all about that, wouldn't you? What's your story then?
I thought
Oh.
you'd never ask.
The
Well,
voice is
after
back.
my lung cancer diagnosis, me and my junkie associate from a chemistry class I used to teach
Yeah, I
started-
figured. How about you?
Oh.
Hey, I wasn't done.
For a minute, I thought we were about to get a real lore drop, but that's referencing Breaking Bad, isn't it? Damn it, Jax.
Hey, I wasn't done.
If you're gonna make shit up, at least be creative about it. I know what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Was that a reference to something?
I worked in fast food.
You've done more than
Yeah.
that. What about your art?
I was in community college.
Your
for
job doesn't
graphic
define
design,
you.
But I dropped out. I didn't really pursue art much after that.
Hey, I'm always down to make art together if you want.
Oh, I didn't know you were an artist too, Zubal.
Yeah, I was a tattoo artist for a couple years.
A bartender and a tattoo artist? You're killing me here, Zuby.
What do you mean when you say that? You have like an actual.
Yeah, see, I like Zubal's dynamic with Jax too, because the minute he is, leaning into his baser qualities of mocking and just cutting in with little remarks, say it with your chest. Like, do you have anything meaningful to add here? If not, just shh. And I appreciate that straightforwardness.
Do you have like an actual point, or are you just talking?
I'm just having fun. I forgot you hate fun.
It's fun for
isn't
you.
the thing I hate.
I guess I'll go now.
I don't know if they mean that they hate him, or I could see it going both ways. Like, they're saying fun isn't the thing I hate. So they could mean another feeling is a thing I hate, not fun, but the way you're being right now. Or they could mean they hate him outright. So, tense.
I guess I'll go now.
Oh,
Jeez, where to start? I was born into a fairly wealthy family. I had a large property with horses and chickens.
Ah.
And my mother was a lot.
ah.
I worked in real estate for a bit until I ended up here.
Yeah, it's all making sense now. I mean, she made a comment about missing her horses or something last episode, I think. And this is also why, like, I know that, like, dance lessons and tea parties thing was inspired by that line from Raggedy Ann and Andy, which I thought it might have been a reference to something. I did love Raggedy Ann and Andy as a kid, but I don't remember it well enough to have known that reference off the top of my head. But I also assumed it wasn't just a reference, like it was being employed to indicate something. And I thought that maybe this might have been the case because she's from a wealthy family, so that might have meant dance lessons and tea parties and cotillions and the like, having to act a certain way, be ladylike, be proper, be nice. But also her mum. She said her mum was a lot. And I mean, when I was talking about my people-pleaser mentalities, maybe it wasn't so dissimilar a situation as Ragatha's. And maybe she feels like she has to be perfect, or she's trying to get people to like her and to feel like enough, because certain people in her life either don't make her feel that way, like she's enough, or if they're hypercritical, then she is step by step, piece by piece, trying to recreate herself to be as nice as possible, to just gain as much love from as many people as possible to fill that hole and feel like enough. Which would also make sense why she can be a little bratty sometimes, or like that tiny little bit of a mean girl streak. Like, she might not even realize she's taken these things on, because often we model behavior we see. So the worst parts of herself, or the parts about herself that she hates the most, might be parts that she inadvertently absorbed from people like her mum. And because of that, sometimes it's hard to kind of see those qualities come out in yourself, especially if you hate them in someone and you inadvertently take them on. Like, that's kind of hard to reckon with.
I worked in real estate
The self-soothing.
until I ended up here. I'm sure she doesn't miss me. I certainly don't miss the yelling, and the braiding, and guilt tripping, and the... Yeah, just kind of a farm girl. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
Stop. I mean, oh my god, this is very well done. Again, we see for just a moment her being real and feeling like an actual person, and everything's not okay all the time. And I get that it's a coping mechanism sometimes when you feel so not okay that you just have to pretend that if everything's okay, if I pretend everything's okay, then it is, living in that delusion. But for once, not acting like everything's fine and then kind of catching herself and then just coming in stronger with, like, oh, it's all good. No big deal. It's like, no, just... This is hard to have this conversation in a group dynamic, because if she had this conversation with Pomni alone, I feel like maybe the silence wouldn't be so intimidating. With everyone staring at her and perceiving her, she just kind of has to double down on her whole shtick.
Yeah, just kind of a farm girl.
They're not going to
Nothing too out
judge
of the
you.
ordinary.
And no point in asking Kinger, because there's no way he remembers anything.
Never better.
Do you guys know about his wife?
Huh?
My what? Oh.
What? Hold on. If they don't know... I just caught the CA in the background. Ooh. But do they not know about Queenie? How long has he been here? Because she would have had to have abstracted before any of them arrived for them to not know about her. Oh my god. No wonder he's lost it. Maybe it was less of a quick process like it kind of seemed in his recollection, and more of a slow degradation. But also, why is Jax either seemingly disgusted or scared of that drink? Is it the corn? Is he disturbed because that's the thing. Everything's so intentional that I feel like if he was disturbed just because it's corn in a beverage, that would be very mundane. Like, why are you jumping back like that? Relax. It's making me think that's more impactful than it actually seems. Maybe he has some corn-related trauma? I can't even begin to imagine what that might be. But yeah, Zubul clocked it. Oh.
What?
That's disappearing guy. That's just what he does.
I see. From a previous adventure?
Yeah, God, Pomni, you didn't know that?
I'm ignoring you.
By the way, Pomni, sorry about the whole president thing. I just thought it'd be funny.
Are you apologizing? What's happening?
Just ignore him.
Apology accepted, I guess.
Okay, this is the thing. Because obviously the little smarmy look on his face, he's probably not apologizing sincerely. And also, that wasn't one of the more traumatic adventures. It's not like, Gangle got eaten as a rhinoceros in his prior one. So it's not like it was necessarily something that needed a big apology for. But I think more so than whatever Jax is pulling right now, this again speaks to how much I really respect Pomni, because even if she's wary about it, she is taking his actions at face value. She's not just going to dismiss him and what he's saying. It's like her first priority is being true to herself. And so even if he's not being sincere here, she's going to react and respond to him as if he is being sincere. Maybe just even in case he is. He has apologized, and she could take Zubul's advice and just ignore him. But she chooses to say, you know what? Apology accepted, I guess. And again, I keep saying this, but she treats people like they're not reduced down to just their worst actions. And again, the breaking the cycle of being trapped in certain archetypes is, I guess, fair enough. Like, fairly, Zubul's had enough with it and is used to his antics. And so they jump to just ignore him. But Pomni's either more intriguing because she doesn't do that, but also it's kind of a chance to have a conversation with someone without them immediately assuming the worst. I don't know. It's just, it's complicated.
Accepted, I guess.
Wow, the first steps of a budding friendship, right, Ragatha?
Ooh.
Hey, Pomni.
Girl, don't fall into it.
Smashed me against the walls and I got all jumbled up. All things considered, that was pretty funny, right?
No, not really.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, that was probably pretty traumatic for you.
Oh, remember when you got high at McDonald's and told Gangle to kill herself? No, that was funny.
What? I did not say that. I think. No, of course I didn't. And I am still so sorry about that, Gangle. I would never have said anything like that if I didn't get that stupid sauce in my eye.
Jeez, Raggy, just let yourself be mean sometimes. It's funny.
Yeah, constantly tormenting Gangle's really funny, Jax.
You guys all take this place way too seriously.
Oh, Jax is being such a dick right now. But he ate that one thing. The let yourself be mean sometimes is actually good advice for her. Obviously not coming from him, but just in general, because now that we have a little insight into her upbringing, that was probably something very looked down on, even if that's the behavior she was seeing. I can imagine that maybe her mum was very hypercritical of her, and anything less than, the perfect daughter is maybe not good enough. Maybe they'll yell and criticize her, but if she speaks back, that is not allowed. So she's kind of internalized a lot of that. And to be a more well-rounded person, she does need to allow some negativity in from time to time. We learned that lesson last episode with Gangle and the mask, and I think that applies in a lot of ways to her too. But I also very much understand Zubal's frustration and anger with Jax here, especially now that they're getting closer with Gangle, and it's not nice seeing your friends treated poorly or mocked or tormented. And this is very hypocritical of him, obviously, but it's like he oscillates between people not taking this place serious enough and people taking it too seriously, depending on what mood he's in. And I think it's telling that when we see him really be him, what I think is really him at the heart of it is he was disturbed at how Ragatha acts like everything about this place is okay and it's all okay, and it's not. And I think Jax is kind of taking that it's fine for me but not for she kind of mentality here, because he very much does the same thing, but I think he thinks maybe the way he deals with it is different, because his does feel more like a facade, obviously. He's very clearly being, a bit of a dick on purpose, and maybe he takes issue with Ragatha trying to say everything's fine in like a sincere way. Like, it's that cognitive dissonance, I think, and it's interesting because I'm actually glad they made this choice, because prior in this episode, I do think Jax has been painted very well-rounded, maybe for the first time. Obviously there's been inklings, but we finally get a look into deeper, quite a lot deeper. And I think it would have felt a little cheap if all of a sudden he was just so forthright and forthcoming. And now especially, I think it's so important to highlight that last scene, he was just with Pomni alone, or with Ragatha there at one point. But I think this whole scene goes to show how much a group setting and a group dynamic changes people. And we see him slide back into this, and I am glad, because it reminds us of who Jax is most of the time. And I'm glad it didn't just slip into him being a purely sympathetic character, which I didn't think the show would do. It's too good for that. But I'm glad it's showing multiple facets of people. And they're not necessarily in conflict, they're part of the whole. And I mean, a little part of me thinks maybe he kind of did this whole charade here because he looked a little bit shaken when Ragatha kind of, I don't know, devolved into a little bit of her backstory. I wonder if he's trying to lean into kind of what I said at the beginning about part of maybe what he feels his purpose is here is being a distraction. And that's kind of supported by him saying, you all take this place way too seriously, which I don't think is what he really believes, because we saw what he really believes before. But him being this antagonistic shit stirrer, if it turns everyone in the group frustrated and against him, then they're no longer dwelling on their sadness. That's one possible way to look at it. It might not be true, so I'm not saying that in absolutes, but I like to think that his little expression after Ragatha revealed that, it's making me think that that's a possibility. Like the look on his face and the way he rubbed the ring of the glass and then immediately kind of shifts from that pensive expression to back into character and putting the attention on Kinga and then causing this ruckus. I don't know. I guess charitably, it could possibly be either to distract everyone from Ragatha or to replace her maybe negative feelings with other negative feelings so that she's not sad or dwelling on the past, or maybe that level of vulnerability from someone else made him uncomfortable enough to try and shift the mood back to something lighter. I don't know. It could be multiple things.
Seriously. What is this? Why'd you do that? Can you get that thing away from me?
Are you afraid of corn?
No. Who's afraid of corn?
You?
On board! Let's go to the next adventure!
What? You're not even a part of...
There's a story there.
It's softball, ladies and gentlemen!
Oh, we're doing this now?
Beautiful night for a game, right, Bubble?
I wonder who suggested this.
We've got the Big Tops playing against the evil Big Tops.
Sup, I'm Evil Pomni.
What the fuck? Okay, I mean, we'll get into looking at their evil counterparts, I guess. But first off, I didn't realize, because when a character has a hat or something about their appearance, sometimes I don't realize what they actually look like with it off, and I get completely jump scared. And this is one such case, because in my mind, Pomni has her jester hat. It's quite a big head, and you can't really see where her head and what's part of the hat, where her face begins, you know what I mean. And I am now realizing, very, very tragically, that she has a fuck-ass bob. I did not realize things were this dire. I say with a fuck-ass bob myself, but she just looks so, like, innocent and harmless without her big jester hat on. I don't know, just the change in hat really made all the difference. She's kind of channeling Edna mode a little bit with that bob. Okay, I'm gonna fucking scream. I mean, Evil Pomni is big and menacing. Obviously, it looks like inverted colors. We have Zubul with I'm Evil on them, but other than that, they look vaguely similar. Just the color palette seem all messed up. I assume they're going for the inverse colors to signify inverse personalities. Because, yeah, again, Ragatha's red, pink, and blue colors are all jumbled together. And oh god, yeah, I just realized Evil Pomni's eyes are so small. The little circus, like the bird's eye view of the big top in her eye, the irises. So that gives her more of a menacing quality. Ragatha looks nasty. Is Evil Jax nice? Or I should say opposite Jax, because I guess if they're going for the inverse personalities, why is this Jax so shy and meek? Oh my god. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, inverted colors. King is scaring me. Not a fan of this Kinger. And oh. I'm sorry to Gangle, because for a second I was like, who's missing? And who the fuck is that? Like, I know it's one of the Orby guys from last episode, but I was like, where's the inverse of Gangle? But how do you do that? Because Gangle's existence in herself is kind of the representation of two inverse feelings. So I guess the only way you could kind of do that is make her have a bigger personality, not being quite so meek, and maybe have like different masks, maybe not comedy and tragedy, but like villainy and I don't know. It would be kind of hard, because the inverse of their personality is they're already opposites of each other. So I guess they just had to replace her entirely with someone else. I don't know. Unless that's Gangle in some form, but it just looks like the Orby guy, so I guess we'll see. I feel like I'm part of the team with a hat on.
Sup, I'm Evil Pomni. I'm Evil Ragatha.
Coach Dictator here.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm Evil Jax.
Orbsman.
I'm Bazooble.
That wasn't in my suggestion.
Why don't I get an evil clone?
But first, let's welcome our special guest, here to sing the American National Anthem.
Wait, the hat, is that Mr. Disappearing Man? No, he was... Oh, no. I was going to say, no, he was grey or something, but I'm assuming that was just the colour palette of the, like, film noir episode, and maybe this is what he actually looks like. Is he actually going to sing, or is he going to disappear? But what I was thinking was, I thought this might be Ragatha's suggestion, because she was trying to teach Gangle last episode how to play softball, or how to pitch, rather. So, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. If she was a farm girl, even if she was expected to be, you know, a certain way by her mother, maybe if her father was in the picture, he might have encouraged more of a sportsy type, you know, and on a farm, maybe they played catch growing up before she was expected to become a lady. So I thought this might have been her suggestion. The way he walks, I'm so sure that's Disappearing Man. No. Okay, that was so much funnier than it needed to be. Just the echo that carries on long after he's gone is very funny. I appreciate that. But also, what is the centipede doing here? Did Jax somehow... No, oh, I'm silly. I was gonna say, because the centipede thing keeps coming up with Jax, I thought maybe he was able to morph her suggestion somehow. But no, obviously it's Kane. How he said, oh no, they're all having fun with their suggestions. I need to fix this. And clearly this is the result. I love that that's the only clapping. Oh.
All right, team.
Okay, I'm back. An alarm started going off and I thought the building was on fire, but it's fine. I think it was just a break-in alarm in one of the shops around the corner, or some kind of alarm. Anyway, but we're back. And I think we were just about to get a good speech from Kinga. So I love that they actually have him age appropriate. I very much felt he was giving dad energy in the Haunted Mansion episode, The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor or something. And a lot of you commented that he was giving such girl dad energy, and 100% agree, hard agree on that. So I really love that he plays very appropriate and age accurate roles. Like in the school episode, he's not just like a creepy student in the corner, he was the teacher. And obviously in this one, he is the coach or the dictator as the evil version of him. But then also in, you know, age non-specific, I was going to say missions, like hell of a boss, in these little adventures, he's still able to mingle and, you know, hang out and have a fun time with everyone. But when it comes to these kind of games or roles, he very much settles into just a very appropriate position. And I appreciate the forethought behind that.
All right, team. I may not know what's going on, or who is going on, or when is going on, or why is going on, but I do know where is going on.
Valid.
It's out on that field.
And that's true.
Let's go break some tailbones, team.
How am I supposed to deal with this? You guys already know from my Hell of a Bus videos the power of a little look. And you need to stop giving that to me if that's not what you want me to focus on. Watch this. Watch these two.
Let's go break some tailbones, team.
Like, what is that?
I hope we all have a fun game, no matter who ends up winning. I want to kill that guy.
Are we sure that's not a little bit of an overreaction, Jax? Or maybe are you a little bit insecure that evil Jax is more emotionally mature than you? Oh no.
That guy.
Well, hello, stupid Gatha. I hope you're ready to get completely annihilated. Nobody loves you and you're going to die someday. We can't exactly die. It's like the whole thing here.
What the freak?
Huh? Check this out. You're out, dumb.
Damn it.
Ha! Get owned!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ah, she's cool.
I love that Ragatha is so vanilla that everyone else is probably cursing up a storm and she gets censored for saying damn it. And Jax's appreciation of evil Pomni, it's so funny because I realize how awful things would be if there was more Jaxes. I do wish he kind of had a partner in crime, but like maybe a little bit more of a straight-laced partner in crime like our Pomni. Some give and take there, you know, each feed into each other's personality a little bit maybe. That's a fun dynamic. But if there were people like the evil crew around Jax, that would be such a miserable environment. It'd bring out the absolute worst in each other. Pomni looks gagged by his appreciation of her evil counterpart. But also, that's so cute. Azubal and Gangle just whispering about something in the corner. I want to know what they're saying.
Ah, she's...
What is that? What is that, you guys? I just saw it. Why is Kamigo there? That's crazy. You can't do that. I was just, oh, let me look in the background. The Gloink Depot. Tired. Try going to sleep. CNA. And then I just see the little crocodile we all know and love. Which is why I take issue that it's called Gator Goo. I'm assuming like Gatorade, but he's not a gator, I think. I thought they were crocodiles. I just assumed based on the Australian accent, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's all you're thirsting for. I mean, you can't do that to me. That's so sad.
Wait, what's that?
Is this what? Okay. How do these votes work? Because no one, I mean, I'm sure Zubul and Gangle were giggling about that. I don't know about Kinga, and I didn't see Pomni get asked. So is the vote just based on, like, the person's thoughts can be read and, like, what they would choose? And also, again, the fact that Pomni voted no to putting him in the maid outfit is actually very nice. And I think that's super cute. But after everything he's pulled, like, he does deserve a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. So I think people who can dish it out but can't take it are super uncool. So I think Jax needs to get used to being the butt of the joke a little bit. He does pull it off, though.
Who did this? You!
Oh, maybe that's why Pomni was gagged.
Jax, you're up to bat.
I can't, don't wanna, why, look, why?
A little heart.
Seems fitting for you, though. I figured you'd be into this.
What does that mean? What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just having fun. I forgot you hate fun.
As soon as they said, I just thought it would be fitting. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're doing a callback to the bar scene. And I appreciate that. This is fair game, I think. And he's pulling it off. Like, there's no, it's fine. But now I am thinking maybe that's why Pomni was gagged. She was kind of sitting there looking a bit uncomfy. And I guess if she knew that this vote was coming, that would make sense.
I forgot you hate fun.
I don't want to wear this.
I have never seen you this upset about something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you when this is over.
Let's see what you're made of.
Shut up!
Don't worry. I think you look good.
I don't want to hear that. I want you dead. Well, guess there's no more ball. We're done.
Wait, I got this.
Oh, no.
What? Hey!
Sorry, Zubul. It's just the perfect regulation softball size. We're not playing baseball here.
Okay, that actually is very funny. Because once again, I think King is going one way, and then we just divert the other about the color of the wire. I thought he was basing it from a very logical standpoint of black not being a color, and then he throws a curveball, pun intended. And so this time I thought he was, I mean, maybe not selfish, but it's actually practical. I was going to say his eye is an actual, oh no, that's not true actually. It's wood, because when he blinks, it's wood. He's a chess piece. But I was going to say Zubul's parts are replaceable. So I thought from, you know, a self-preservation aspect, it would make more sense to use a Zubul part. And then he actually goes the logical route this time of it being perfect regulation size. Oh, King of the Enigma you are. Oh, it matches the other Zubul.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Wait, Jax! What about where is going on?
They've got the gator goo.
Tour. I'm supposed to be better than that. Sorry. I should be a better sport.
Not to, like, agree with Jax or anything, but there's nothing wrong with showing your negative emotions. That's pretty normal.
I don't know. I don't want to be a jerk or anything.
I think we all need to be a jerk sometimes.
Maybe.
Again, Pomni letting people open up.
Kane, we need a ball here.
What was that look?
Jax, we have a ball now. What are you doing?
See ya. Whoops, I missed. Oh darn, I'm out.
Having fun?
Oh, you know it.
Hold on. I know not exactly, but that was kind of, I don't know, it was very similar to the interaction last episode when he's like, how's your night going? And she obviously replied in that cautious way, but it feels like this is showing just how far they've come since last episode, because this is such a casual interaction and very genuine from Pomni. And I also love that, just like with everyone else, Pomni says it like it is, but is kind about it. She doesn't fall into the trap of brutal honesty, which is such bullshit. When someone's like, what, I'm just brutally honest. It's like, no, you're just a dick. Whereas she might say some hard truths and in front of, or rather to Ragatha, literally agreeing with Jax to some degree is, you know, probably not that favorable, but she's saying what needs to be said for Ragatha's benefit as well, for her to release those pent-up emotions. And she plants a seed and she really gives them space to think about it. I really love what we see with Pomni, especially in this episode. And again, I mean, we see Pomni kind of looking a bit concerned for him here, but also even when verbally he's still in character and not taking anything seriously kind of thing, he's really let the mask go face-wise, and just all the negative emotions are right there for anyone to see.
Oh, look, Gangle's up to bat. How do you think this is gonna go?
Would you stop trying to force her to act like you?
Oh, yeah. I should force her to be happy all the time instead, right?
Well, it's
The
better than
corn.
turning her into some insensitive jerk who deflects everything.
Okay, I don't know if she's projecting. I don't think that's necessarily fair, because it was almost self-talk. It's not like he said something like, don't you think she's gonna fail? Like, prompting her to agree. He literally just made a comment out loud. And, you know, it's up to Pomni whether she wants to agree with that or not. But I think Ragatha overstepped a little bit there, maybe projecting what she feels about it. But there's probably better examples of him doing that. This was not one of them trying to force her to act like him, I don't think. And although the sentiment's different, on the flip side, I know he's saying it in retaliation, I also don't agree with Ragatha trying to force Pomni to be happy all the time. I think this is very much them having an altercation through Pomni, and I don't think either of them has a valid point in this particular instance.
Sensitive jerk who deflects everything.
I can think for myself, guys.
Hey, I ain't forcing anything on you.
And then you just
Yep.
act like you never do anything wrong and everybody loves you, when in reality you just fuck everything up for everyone else.
Okay, let's, calm down a bit.
What? You're the one who said it's fine to be a jerk sometimes. Ugh. I'm sorry, Pomni. That wasn't very cool of me.
It's fine.
Okay, I see where she's coming from. I do think it's very misplaced in this case, because I actually agree when he said, I'm not forcing anything. He's actually not. Like, maybe he wishes sometimes someone would act a bit more like him, but in fact, it's kind of been him steamrolling ahead, being a bit of a jerk. But Pomni's never participated in that. There might be times when they can commiserate and, you know, have a normal conversation and have a laugh, but when he's doing, like, jerk antics. In fact, part of the fun of it for him, I think, is disrupting everyone else and bringing chaos. So although I agree with her point of he then, I guess not genuinely, but acts like, oh, I've done nothing wrong, I think that's applicable in other circumstances, surely. But I think it's misplaced, and maybe it's just being brought out now when she really means it about other behavior, because it's kind of a miss for this one, I think. And I do also disagree with what she said next, and I think this is a good example of how we perceive others in maybe a different way than they perceive themselves, or the way that they think other people think of them, because I think that might be a projection too. I don't think he thinks everyone loves him at all. In fact, I kind of think the opposite. Like what he was saying earlier about Gangle. Like, do you think she could ever really be happy? And then the look on his face when Ragatha basically remarked about he doesn't have any real friends, not anymore. Like, it's pretty clear he doesn't think everyone loves him. But I think he just has an easy way about himself, and even being a jerk has that kind of charisma that maybe she wishes she had. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's really nailed this one, like the interpretation of Jax, but I think she just has a lot of pent-up anger and frustration that she needs to release. Okay, I'm concerned about when that corn is going to come into play, but Jax is obviously a lot more intrigued now, and I actually appreciate this interaction. I kind of wish, I wish she took Jax and Pomni's advice a little more often to let that negative energy out, because when it's built up and built up and built up, you snap and it all comes out, and it comes out a lot harsher than you think, a lot harsher than you mean for it to be, and oftentimes it's misplaced. And you can't really take that back. I think letting it build up to that degree is where the problem is. So if she had maybe an easier outlet, or was able to, in moderation, balance her feelings, I think it wouldn't all come out like that. But I do appreciate that she apologized. And again, it's in these moments that I feel like I'm seeing her for the first time, really. Because this is actually her being kind for real. In a way, not just apologizing, but also admitting a fault on her part, and not in a fake way. Like, she genuinely thinks that, you know what, that's on me. That wasn't very cool of me. And it doesn't feel like she's just saying it to say it. So I hope things kind of proceed in this direction, and she has a bit more balance in that respect. Anyway.
It's fine.
No apologies for me? This is so sad.
I'm sorry, Jax. For bringing up that thing earlier.
God, again, I have so many thoughts. My first one being, this is why I like the Ragatha Jax dynamic a lot of the time, is because things are just so tumultuous between them. When things do go right or very, very wrong, the reaction is so, it's just felt so much deeper. Like, because they bicker all the time, if one of them really hurts the other, especially if it's Ragatha hurting Jax, which is not what you'd expect to even be possible from an outside perspective, that's when it hits really hard. But then vice versa, when Ragatha, for the most part, isn't the one who should be apologizing. I mean, from what we've seen anyway, Jax hasn't given a genuine apology to her, maybe ever. And I mean, maybe she wouldn't believe it even if it happened. But I respect that from her a lot. Because again, you can hear it in her voice. She's not being nice. She's still very upset and or frustrated with him. But this is kind of what I liked about the Pomni-Jax interaction, in that irregardless of if someone has been kind of a jerk to you or not, Pomni is going to go into this next interaction with not bad expectations. And she'll often assume the good or neutral before assuming the bad. And I think in previous episodes, Ragatha might have blown up at Jax here again. And it's like, what do you deserve an apology for? Like, you should be apologizing to me, that kind of thing. But she takes that quiet moment and decides, no, I'm going to be better. And she does genuinely feel sorry about saying that, what it came out sounding like. And it's not just an amorphous, I'm sorry for no particular reason, please forgive me because I want you to like me. It's a targeted apology, accepting fault and saying sorry, even when he maybe doesn't deserve it. And that was something truly kind for her to do, making up for that mistake earlier. And I have a lot of respect for her because of that. And based on the look on Jax's face, he certainly wasn't expecting it either. And it seems like it really affected him. And I think sometimes when he lashes out like that, or like this, it might be projecting elements onto his character that aren't there, but I feel like sometimes we see glimpses where maybe he wishes he was more like the others in some ways. Like, I don't think he thinks he's capable of giving someone a genuine apology necessarily. It's very Eleanor from The Good Place. It's like when someone's been on their own or felt lonely and isolated their whole life or for so long, and they convince themselves that they like it that way, but they don't. And so that's every excuse not to try, and every excuse to just double down and play the game sort of as every man out for himself. So these are the complex dynamics that I really like to see, and I'm so curious to know what ripple effect this is going to have in the rest of their relationship. And God, I want to know, and I'm sure we'll find out because they're focusing on it a fair bit, but I hope Pomni either now or in a future episode makes the space for him to talk about it, because I think those are the opportunities where he can open up the best.
So, you wanna talk about that?
I'm in a maid outfit. What do you think?
Oh my God. Okay, maybe not now, but I guess the talk is probably coming at some point. These two have such a casual intimacy, if that makes sense. It feels like any interaction between them, some huge truth bomb could be dropped, or it could be kind of a lighthearted atmosphere. It's just, I've said it before and I'll say it again, this dynamic is just everything. And I love that when he sees the corn, I didn't see that the first time I watched this clip. I thought he just jumped out of nowhere. I'm like, what are you doing? But obviously he sees the corn and he jumps back scared like a cat, which is very, very fun visual gag.
So, how's the game going?
Great! Gangle hit a home run!
Really?
Yeah, your instructions helped me.
I was hoping it would.
Huh.
I don't know if it's nothing, but it feels like after that interaction, and I also should have mentioned something that, I mean, I just kind of solidified the thought that I think Ragatha made a very Pomni-like choice, because Ragatha's previous niceness, as I said, kind of felt more like it was for her, or in order to get a result of people liking her. Whereas that felt both like an apology because she saw that Jax was really hurt, and also because she was making a choice for herself that she felt bad about it and she wanted to apologize and take the onus, which was the mature thing to do. And I don't know if it's just because maybe she wore herself out with that anger outburst, but she came into this interaction a little bit lighter. And her, really, when he said that Gangle got a home run, it wasn't a shocked, really. It was almost an affirming one. Like, she really did believe that Gangle could do it. And then we see her have such a happy, like a real smile, a real reaction to knowing she has actually helped and improved on someone else's life. She's made someone else happy. She's given Gangle good advice, good instruction on playing, and Gangle's showing appreciation for that. And her little it's almost like, oh, this is what it feels like to actually make a difference in someone's life. I like this direction. I like this direction we're going.
Huh. Can you give me my eye back? Joke's on you. I've already forgotten what you're talking about.
Wowee!
Slay.
Another home run! God damn it!
Oh, I guess they're just censoring damn it for everyone. Oh, yeah, because it's like the PG, like child-friendly thing that they're going for in that visual gag from episode 1, I think.
Okay.
Nice
The orb
going,
man's having a
Zool.
tantrum.
All right, Pomni, you're up.
Hey, Ragatha. You want to bat for me instead?
She looks scared.
I guess I could. If you really don't want to.
Think of it as a second chance to show him who's boss.
Yeah.
Nice gesture.
Bazowie Zoo-wee-wah! Another home run! And that makes 3 home runs in a row! The Big Tops win!
That's not how softball works.
Well, that's how my softball works. We're done. Hooray!
Man, we didn't even get to bat.
Okay, I'm very conflicted about this scene. I don't know if she's looking over at them all of a sudden because evil Pomni made some wisecrack about not getting to bat. Maybe that prompted her to look over, but I mean, I don't necessarily think this is fully accurate. I think one thing that this could be is even symbolically about connection and community again, because not that she had any obligation to or any real reason to, but Ragatha very readily took Pomni up on the offer to bat for her, which on a personal level, I think is good. I think she wanted to bat and that was her actually making a choice. Like, she could have said, no, Pomni, you'll do amazing. Like, no, you should bat. I think she did want that second chance. And so she accepted the offer, didn't just, push it back and brush it off to be polite just for the sake of it. So I think that was good. But in doing so, that's inadvertently left Pomni and Jax on the bench together chatting and, just chatting. But this is kind of what I meant by like that casual intimacy. Like, they just have a way about them. And it feels like even though they're very different, they just are on a similar wavelength. And just, I think it might just be because Pomni is just great and makes it so easy for him to feel comfortable and open up or even just be normal. Like, not that over-the-top version of himself. Even if he's still a little snarky, if that's him, then that's him. But it feels like a much more grounded version of him. So this look could either be Ragatha kind of envying them getting closer, or maybe not enjoying that they, in particular, are getting closer. Either because she wants Pomni to choose her, or because she's worried that Jax will, corrupt Pomni or turn her against her. I don't know, it could be such a mix of feelings. But I wonder if, and again, I don't think any of these are fully the truth necessarily. They're just things that come to mind. Because Pomni, evil Pomni, I should say, her line was literally, we didn't even get to bat. And then Ragatha kind of looks over at Pomni. And I wonder if some part of her thinks that on the topic of we didn't get to bat, Pomni, gave up her chance to bat. And I wonder if Ragatha thinks Pomni gave up her chance to bat so she could stay on the bench with Jax. She might think that. Or she might have just heard evil Pomni say something and look over because she's worried that our Pomni's going to become an evil Pomni, even though I think it's pretty clear that that's not going to happen. As Pomni said, she can think for herself and decide for herself. But you know what I really think it could be? And that's coming back to, I think, what I said earlier, maybe last episode when talking about masking, but I feel like I mentioned it earlier, where, and I've been there, it can be so frustrating and soul-crushing and even debilitating when you've put on a version of yourself and you think it's the best version, or you're trying to be super, super nice, or you don't want to ruffle any feathers, you just want everyone to like you want everything to go well, everyone be happy, everything fine. If that version of yourself is rejected or doesn't resonate with people, like the way, even though she was gentle with it, trying to help Ragatha, she is not prickly with her, but I don't think they're yet at the stage where they can have like a casual conversation, like Pomni and Jax just sitting on the bench chatting, because Ragatha, I think, has been getting in her own way, trying to be the version of her that maybe she thinks Pomni wants or needs in that interaction, and it's put that wedge between any real communication and connection. And so for someone in Ragatha's position, how devastating it would feel to just feel like it's not enough. Like, okay, I've constructed this idealized version of me and people aren't responding well to that. But then you look over and someone who isn't the nicest, or even not to take it that far, even if it's just someone that you don't personally get along with, or someone who seems to not put any effort in, like they're not trying so hard to be a good person, yet someone like Pomni still gravitates to them and they have an easier way about them. That's just really hard. It's really hard to watch. And I don't know if she's sort of realizing it in that moment, like, what I've been doing is just not working. But it's definitely possible. And it could be a combination of all of those things. Maybe she's even a little jealous of either of them. I don't know, but I hope we continue to delve into her character more, and I hope this is kind of a pivotal moment for her and her character moving forward.
You did it, Ragatha! We won!
I mean, I guess.
Good job. Whatever you did.
Huh? Oh yeah, good job, team.
Huh? Oh, cool.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had to pause it here because what? I wonder what they were talking about just before this, because what is that look on his face? I don't know, maybe he's trying to make the maid outfit work for him. I don't know. But this is what I like. They have a very organic way about them, but Pomni still has that cautious, like, she's not stupid. She's still gonna have her guard up a little bit in order to keep an eye out for Jax's antics, which is part of what's so fun about them.
Oh, cool. I'm not a vegan anymore.
Oh, hey.
What?
Wait, what are you...
What is going on?
This is Jax on Jax violence. I did not expect that. But that kind of makes me think that what I was saying earlier about the vegan thing being like confined to these adventures, like the fact that the maid outfit and the veganism thing wore off at the same time. Like if he still was, even when they got back to the circus, I'd have more questions, but I think that does make sense to me. What a delectable little moment that was. There's so much to talk about. But I think Ragatha really needs to, or is currently learning the lesson of why it's important not to try too hard, because she's looking at this rabbit guy cannibalize the nice version of himself and sees Pomni chuckle at it. And she's like, this guy? This is more appealing, more charismatic to you than me? Like, you're seemingly closer with this guy than me? What am I doing wrong? And also, I don't necessarily think that's Pomni turning to the dark side or anything. I think it might seem that way because the little look of guilt or shame when she realizes Ragatha sees her having a bit of a giggle at whatever Jax is doing, and she like tries to hide it. That could just be because she knows that they have a strained relationship, and specifically from just before, Ragatha already has concerns that Pomni's turning into Jax, so maybe she's a bit hyper aware of that. But honestly, I mean, Pomni, it's not like she laughs when Jax is mean to Gangle or torments any of the crew. Like, that other, like, evil version of Jax is not one of them, obviously. And this is clearly such an unserious situation. Like, serious, but so fantastical. It's, like, absurdist to the point you laugh. And if he's not hurting any of them, and if he's also not pretending to be something that he's not, like when they just have their quiet little conversations together, I can definitely see why she would be drawn more to him in a friend capacity or otherwise, because it's just a more natural dynamic between them, less forced. But I can also see why Ragatha would be concerned by that for any and all of the reasons we've already discussed.
Well, I hope hope we all learned that suggestion box ideas are actually not fun at all, and Kane's ideas are much better.
Well, some of them were pretty okay.
I kind of liked the low stakes ones.
I thought the first two were awesome. The rest, eh. Oh yeah, Pomni. I can show you that thing in the hall I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, sure.
God, he just says her name so much. He's always like, hey Pomni, hi Pomni, just all the time. Man, you're obsessed with her. I'm assuming that that thing in the hall might be the abstracted door. I wonder if... Oh, actually, I didn't even think about this. Because Pomni's quite straightforward, so I assumed her giving the bat to Ragatha and saying, hey, you deserve your second chance, kind of thing. I assumed that was the extent of it, but it is possible that Pomni knew she was kind of about to have a breakthrough with Jax, and that he was almost ready to talk about what happened with what Ragatha mentioned about the friends thing. And so maybe she sent Ragatha to take that turn, hoping to keep that momentum going and maybe get some insight into what happened. And I wonder if that did happen, and in doing so, if the thing in the hall is his friend's door, the frog. But yeah, no, I imagine that's really hard, given that Gangle and Zubul have kind of formed a pretty strong rapport since last episode. King is kind of just off doing his thing, and it was kind of... Okay, I did kind of nail it. Again, I mean, it's just good setup from the show, but I caught it. That from the beginning, it felt like Pomni getting pulled in two different directions with Ragatha and Jax a little bit. And those themes really playing out throughout the whole episode. And now we see she kind of feels on the outs because those three kind of aren't an option. I mean, they are, and I think if she was real with them, she could get close with them. But, and I've been there. Sometimes it's hard when those people already have their someone. I don't think Zubul and Ragatha are ever going to be the bestest friends, or maybe they could be, but they're just not there. And Gangle and Zubul are already so close that Ragatha might rather be on her own than feel lonely hanging out with them. And the problem with Jax, Pomni and Ragatha is because two of those parties do not like each other, it's just a three-way hangout between them would just be impossible. And I do think that part is Jax's fault, because if he kept the smarminess to a minimum, I think Ragatha would be able to stomach that. I just don't think that would be a comfortable interaction regardless. But yeah, I think maybe she was trying so hard, a little poorly, but trying so hard with Pomni, maybe because she was hoping this time she'd have a friend. But I also really want Jax to have someone, because based on what we heard, and maybe hopefully we'll learn soon, I would like to see what that looks like. Oh, Ragatha. God, the NPC's still here. Uh-oh. Kane's eyes. Hello. I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. That does not bode well. Oh, okay. In all honesty, I feel like I have talked quite enough, and I've pretty much discussed everything I wanted to. I don't have much to add now that we've ended, other than, yeah, I do think that NPC, I mean, it's pretty in your face. It's obviously going to come back, but it makes me think of what Kane said about NPCs aren't really supposed to be in the circus. Unless it's something to do with the fact that those placeholder doors have NPC mannequin faces on them. Maybe someone spawned in and is not yet. I don't know, they don't have a design yet. That's possible, but I think the foreboding of what's to come is a very ominous energy. Yeah, but again, you guys, shut up. Like, you got me again, because somehow, even though they're so different, like if I think back to last episode, I'm like, that was my favorite. But the one before that, I thought that was my favorite. And this one is now my favorite, because these are the kind of interactions, as you all know from my Hell of Boss stuff, just those minute little expressions and interactions and dynamics that are just ever changing or very tumultuous. I just eat that shit up. And I love to think about these characters' motivations and what they could be thinking and feeling, and trying to be fair to all parties involved. I love it. And this episode gave me exactly what I wanted in that regard. And I hope it keeps on coming, because I am so ready. I'm just blown away by how much I love this show. It is extremely well done. And even if certain things or thematic mentions, even if that stuff isn't necessarily intentional, the fact that you can draw intention from it and find meaning in it means there's something to be found. So I do think it's very, very well done. And I'm eating this up. Oh my god. This was the episode I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for Jax. He's been the most intriguing to me since the beginning, which is very in character for me. But yeah, this is just everything that I wanted, and I hope we keep going. And I'm more interested in learning more about Ragatha than ever before. I think we're on a good path here. And yeah, I think all of the characters have more to give that we haven't seen yet. I feel like it's been a minute since the Kinga Zubul focused episode, the Mildenhall Manor one, but I do kind of just want to focus more on Jax and Ragatha right now, and Pomni. It might be a basic opinion, but I do think Pomni's my favourite character, which I wasn't expecting from the first episode. I mean, she was acting how she was acting for a reason. It was crazy to be there, but I wasn't expecting her to grow in this way, or maybe just find her place in this way. And just, I really, really enjoy how, as I've said, she's often the straight man, or essentially the self-insert a little bit, but she has such personality and such emotional maturity, and I just think she makes everyone around her's lives better, just like Kinga was hoping in his little speech. Love it. Okay, I'm not joking, I've probably spent upwards of 4 hours filming, and I don't know how much is going to make it in the edit, because again, a lot of it is me staring off into space and pondering and thinking, or talking myself in a circle, but I think it's going to be a long one regardless, so strap in. God, I need to strap in to edit. Oh my god. Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna end it there, and this is probably the most curious I've been to hear your thoughts, your interpretations of things. Please let me know. I know a lot of you in particular are excited for episode 6, and that some things or theories I've mentioned about archetypes and characters, apparently that's going to come to fruition next episode, or at least I need to keep that in mind. And again, as you've said, I have been keeping subtitles off for this and next episode in particular, because apparently the timing of them can lead to a certain spoil. But yeah, I'm extremely excited and nervous to see where things are going to go next episode. So I will leave you there and continue just spiraling and thinking about it on my own. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed so much. And yeah, that is all. I will see you in the next video.